Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to another stop of the world's best professional team drone racing series. And welcome to our pre-show. I'm Matt Andrews, and Martijn de Kemp is secretly alongside me as we're bringing you a little bit of extra fun here on Facebook and YouTube. Before the TV audience joins us live around the world, it's a little bit of extra content for you live on stream. So good evening to you, or morning or afternoon, depending on where you are. I know people are joining us from all over the world. Let us know in the chat on Facebook and YouTube where you are. But we, Martijn, are in Brussels, specifically at the Mont.
We are, yeah.
It's good, isn't it?
It is.
We've had good
it's really
fun racing here this season and last year as well.
Yep, definitely, yeah. Tell me about last year. Well, it wasn't the best racing I've ever done, but it's awesome to be back here.
I don't know if I need to tell you about your racing last year. I don't remember you having a bad season, to be honest with you.
No, the season in general was pretty good, but here in Brussels, no, I was out of luck. Yeah.
Out of luck.
Yeah, out of luck. Yeah.
Luck is a thing.
That's what you need. Yeah, you need a little bit of luck. You need a little bit of skill.
Yep. And you need, stuff like this.
Exactly.
Our drones that we are going to be racing it up to 140 kilometers an hour, maybe even 150, over the Mont Art, this beautiful square in the center of Brussels, where. With our sponsors, Breitling, who are here, Red Bull, and Tiamat 3D as well, who make incredible 3D printing filaments, which is something that our teams are experimenting with on their canopies, not on this particular model that we've got here, but you'll be able to see later on some of the teams coming out with really interesting canopy designs now. A little bit of aerodynamics coming in.
Yeah.
A little bit of style.
Yeah, like last year's designs, they were a little bit more bulky and squarish, and now, we really want to push these drones to the limit, so aerodynamic is obviously a big factor.
That's an example of our quadcopters, but that's not the only thing, the only type of one that's going to be flying around here. Let's go to Raphael Strahl, who's going to talk about how we put these things together.
Hey, what's up guys? I'm Raphael Strahl, aka Raffino FPV, and I'm flying for the Swiss Black Kites. Today I'm going to show you how we're getting our drones ready for the race. Every pilot arrives with 4 drones at least. The first step, let's put on the GoPro. This is for capturing the HD footage, but we will be flying off this camera down here because it has less latency. Next step is mounting the propellers on the copter. So this is the propeller we are using for racing. We are using a more aggressive pitch, so the propeller can produce more thrust and more speed.
So Strahl convert his lift into forward velocity.
And this is really important for racing. Okay, now the last step is putting on the battery, and then we're good to go. Now I have to check in my copter and get everything like security stuff tested by the DCL officials, and they will test if everything is functioning right. So let's go. First thing that is getting checked is the failsafe. If we are losing signal, the copter is just going to drop out of the sky. The second thing that is getting checked is the LED systems, which is really important for the TV production, that you can see our drones. Last step is the simulator, where we actually can fly the track for the first time, and Lucas, the race director, is also checking if we know all the security procedures. So now we're all done, everything is checked, our drones are ready. So thank you for watching and have fun watching the races.
Raphael Strahl of the Swiss Black Kites taking us through what you need and how it works here at DCL to put it all together and get it into our races. Swiss Black Kites looking for a better performance from them today over this course as the sun is setting over Mont. Yeah, this is our pre-show. If you missed the very beginning, this is a little bit of extra fun for you before we get the worldwide TV audience to join us. So welcome to our live streams. Do let us know in the chat what you think. Hashtag DCL18 wherever you are as well. Martijn, you think teams have learned from yesterday?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Across the board, I don't want to give it away, but across the board we see faster lap times, faster individual lap times, faster qualification results by all the teams.
Yeah.
So
but we get that. I mean, we always get better on day 2 wherever it is we go when we do like a second race on a course that we've got. Pilots are naturally going to do better on their second day.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll keep you a little bit more in waiting to find out who's top of qualifying and so on today. But 2 teams you probably know well if you've been following us all season. But if you haven't, welcome to the DCL and welcome to Quad Force 1 and Raiden Racing.
What's up guys, we're Quad Force 1 representing Team USA, and I'm the team captain and my name's Alex Campbell.
Alex is a very fast pilot who just lets it eat. My name's Anya Mary Killian.
This is Andy, Doma FPV. He practices for all of his races by playing a lot of Fortnite, and somehow he's able to come out here and kill at every race.
I'm John Templeton, aka JTFTV. John is a very calm pilot and he thinks throughout the race, making sure he gets the right decisions done.
My name's Evan Turner and I go by Heads Up FPV.
This is Evan Turner, regional finals #1 and the fastest human being in the USA right now. We're second place right now, but after Brussels, that's gonna change.
Hello, we're a team riding from Japan. This is Takumi. He's the youngest boy and very pretty. This is Kazuma. Kazuma is the funniest boy. Yeah, he is a mood maker. And this is Axel Mario. He's a very fastest guy in our team.
And this is Junichi Goto. He's our team captain. He may be old, but his spirit is like a teenager. Right now we're on the 4th overall team. And today in Brussels, we are going to make it in first.
Two teams very confident about their performances and what they hope their results will be here in Brussels. One of them, arguably, with more right to be confident. Quad Force One having had a great season, very much in the top and the thick of things, looking to win this championship. For Raiden Racing, 4th at the moment in our season, as they have been for a while. Their chances have very nearly completely slipped away now. They're going to need incredible performances in all of our remaining races.
Definitely, yeah, absolutely. But then again, Quad Force One also needs to step their game up. Actually, yesterday they gave their second spot away to Next Blades.
Yeah.
So it's going to be exciting today.
Yeah, yesterday's racing saw Next Blades win it over Rotorama in our grand final, and Quad Force One come in 3rd behind both of them and Raiden 4th. So there's 3 teams really mixing things up this season, and Raiden, unfortunately, they're going to need not only to basically win every other race we've got left in the whole of 2018, but need those 3 teams who have otherwise been winning them to just vanish without a trace. So it's all but impossible for Raiden now. Quad Force One, Rotorama and Next Blades Racing, though, between them, it's looking like a world champion may be either crowned new one or given back to Next Blades. Either way, TV audience is going to join us now. Stick with us on the live streams. We're going live to the Worlds. And we're going to be bringing you the next race here from the Drone Prix in Brussels. We have been traveling the world bringing you incredible drone racing experiences from places such as an Olympic Park in Munich in the heart of Germany, from inside the world's most prestigious bullfighting ring, the Plaza de Toro de Aventus, yes, in a bullfighting ring, standing where the bulls normally stand and watching where the people normally sit. We went on top of the Great Wall of China in a sojourn over to Asia, which was an incredible, beautifully memorable experience, and now we find ourselves in the heart of Belgium. We're in the beautiful city of Brussels for the next stop of the Drone Champions League 2018. I'm Matt Andrews, with me Martijn de Kemp, and we're looking forward to another great evening's racing.
Absolutely, yes. Super excited to be here. Beautiful city.
It is glorious. That's a shot of the town hall overlooking the Grand Place. That's a shot of a boy doing what you think he is. He's the Mannequin Piss. That's his name. This is the Atomium. That's its name. It's got incredible architecture, very, very friendly people, and those people seem to like a lot of the sweet stuff as well. There's chocolate everywhere, except for when you're eating waffles, which are often got chocolate on too. And chips. Chips are a thing. They like chips here. Chips with mayo, chips with waffles probably. Seems to be quite a lot of chips. I haven't eaten any. But they like fun here as well, so we have come to the heart of Brussels, the Mont, this beautiful plaza designed by royalty, put together probably by people who royalty told to put it together, probably not by their own bare hands. But it is glorious, and it is the only stop this year in our 2018 season that we are revisiting from last year. We went to incredible locations around the world, including the Champs-Élysées and a salt mine underground, but now we are back at the Mont, although on a different track, and we'll bring that to you in a little while. But first, if you're new to drone racing, if you're new to the world's best drone racing series, here's how the DCL works. We have 8 teams who are joining us here. Sometimes we have 9, sometimes we get a local wildcard team to come and join in the fun. Here it's 8 teams, and earlier on today they went through qualifying, completely new set of qualifying from the last time we were here. They've got to fly new laps on this course. We take the best 2 consecutive lap times for many of our teams, add those together, and that gives a time for the team, which are then used to rank them. So those 8 teams are ranked from fastest to slowest, and in our quarterfinals, top will race slowest, 4th will race 5th, 3rd will race 6th, and 2nd will race 7th, and then it's a knockout series. The winners of the quarters race each other in the semis. The winners of the semis will face off in our grand final, rounding things off at the end of our evening, once the sun has completely gone down and it's very much different track time here. The winner of this will pick up 250 points for the season because it is a world tour throughout 2018. And every round consists of 5 heats, 4 single heats, and the big heat. First, our single heats will be where 1 pilot from each team race off against each other. That'll start with the slowest pilot in qualifying, each working their way up to the fastest in qualifying, and they'll score 1 point for their team if they win that single heat. So you could be 4-0 down until the big heat comes. All 8 drones in the air, 4 versus 4, unique to the DCL. Win that, you'll get 1 for your team, but if a teammate comes in behind you, you'll get 2. If you can come in 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, you'll pick up 3 points for your team, and you could turn a 3-1 deficit into a 4-3 win for you, and sweep out your opposition, come in 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. All of your drones to the end and in the front. 4 points are yours. And the big heats can change all of the action from the singles, and that's what our racetrack looks at from the other end of the Mont facing up to where our stage, and we are with all of our gates in between. It's 525 meters long for a lap. We're going to be doing 2 and a bit laps of it, as we do here at the DCL. You'll see how that fits together. Our pilots will be under the watchful eye of our team, led by our chief judge, Lucas Baumann, who's here with a brilliant team of spotters watching all the action from our pilots, as Lucas live on our stage awaiting our pilots to join him. All of our FPV footage, that's first-person view if you're new to drone racing, all of our pilots will sit on that stage wearing their goggles, and we will be able to bring you the footage as they see it. So Martijn, I think we should show them what we're going to be buzzing around here.
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah. Like you said, the track has changed. For the better, I think. All the pilots seem to love it. It's super flowy, really fast track.
This is what we're going to be doing for 2018. We raced here in 2017. It was amazing. But our new track for 2018 is going to be brought to you with Quad Force One's Alex Campbell.
My name's Alex Campbell, my pilot handle's Chief. I fly for Quad Force One, and today we're gonna walk through the Brussels track. We're gonna take an aggressive start to the other end of the track, 180-degree hairpin turn into the Breitling gate, and up to the next yellow pylon. We're gonna exit the yellow pylon on the right, going into an aggressive split S into the Ibis gate. We're gonna enter the gallery, and it's very tight. We're gonna exit the gallery, come around the blind pylon, and into the trickiest section of the track, the anti-gravity gate. We're gonna be coming in full speed, entering through the bottom and exiting through the top into the double corkscrew. The corkscrew is really the most technical part on the track for me, because the tighter you stay in the corkscrew, the faster your line's gonna be and the less time it's gonna take you to get out of it. We're gonna make a left-hand turn around the right side of the DCL yellow pylon and back to the Breitling gate. On the final lap, we go straight from the DCL gate to the Red Bull crash gate. Thanks everyone for watching, and enjoy the race.
Thank you, Chief. That's the name of Alex Campbell of Quad Force One, taking around the Mont in Brussels, and that's what awaits our pilots, that crash gate, which is a challenge, isn't it, Martijn? That's not an easy thing to fly into, and importantly, you do have to fly into it.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, otherwise your lap is not finished, they have to. Whoever makes it there first takes the point for their team. And especially this time, it's a different, very difficult corner.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, for our season so far, after 7 of the 10 Drone Prix have taken place, Rotorama from the Czech Republic are currently out in the lead on 14 1,420 points. 70 ahead of Next Blades, the reigning world champions from the UK. And there's only 20 points between them and Quad Force 1. Quad Force 1 were in second, but after our last races here in Brussels, Next Blades just nipped by them. DMM Raiden Racing are in fourth with a lot to do if they want to feature at the top. But then behind them, China Dragons and Swiss Black Kites somewhat out of the picture now. Air Carvers Germany were dead last, but have moved up into seventh after getting a fifth place last time here in Brussels, and then Wild Prop and Hellhound complete the table. It very much looks like Next Blades Racing, our reigning world champions, could win this. Rotorama, who they beat to be world champions last year, who lost to Next Blades, they might win it, or it could be Quad Force 1, who are new to the DCL this year. But after qualifying took place earlier on, Next Blades are first in qualifying with some time between their four pilots over the four of Quad Force 1, and then a big gap before Air Carvers Germany. Brilliant to see them in third, Martijn, because they have had a bit of a stinker of a season.
Absolutely, yeah. First, this is the best qualification results they've had all season, so I'm very happy for them, and I hope they will do well in knockouts.
They've never made it out of a quarterfinal this season. Today could be their best chance to do so. Rotorama, who are that team scrapping out at the top and currently first on our leaderboard, are over 10 seconds in qualifying behind Next Blades Racing, who are there right up there with them. So that's a big damage for Rotorama. It means they're going to be chasing the Swiss Black Kites, because fourth versus fifth will race. So it's interesting to see what's happened to Rotorama today and whether it's going to affect their racing later on. Our bracket then for our quarterfinals is Next Blades against Spain Drone Team, first versus eighth after qualifying. We've seen that race before. It tends to be quite short for Next Blades, and they tend to be pretty much like where we say goodbye to Spain Drone Team. Rotorama against Swiss Black Kites will be next. Then Air Carvers Germany will have DMM Raiden Racing to try and get into their first ever semi-final, and Quad Force 1 will take on the China Dragons. That's an interesting set of quarterfinals. We've been having a few drone pre's now where the top teams in qualifying and on our leaderboard tend to make it all the way to the finish. Are we going to get an upset today? Well, let's get things underway. Please welcome to our stage Next Blades Racing. The reigning world champions, the winners of our last Drone Prix in Brussels, they are Next Blades Racing. Onto our stage, 3 out of 4. There's a fourth one, Timothy Trowbridge sneaking in on the end. Yeah, they are Next Blades Racing. Timothy Trowbridge, Gary Kent, Brett Collis and Luke Bannister on the right of your picture. Their opposition join us from Spain, the Spain Drone Team. To the stage, Spain Drone Team. Looking relaxed, looking ready to have some fun. They are Abel Herrera Castello, Carlos J. Hometh Khalil, Arturo Dinero Rivera, and on the right of your picture, Adrian Lopez Hernandez. 3 of these pilots joined us when we were at Plaza de Torre de la Vences in Madrid a couple of months ago. Abel Herrera Castello, Draco John, you might know him in the drone racing world. He joins us for the first time, as do all of these beautiful people. Joining us on the Mont for our first quarterfinal between Next Blades and Spain Drone Team. When these teams have met before, Martijn, it's only ever been Next Blades, or indeed Quad Force 1 or Next Blades who beat them. And Quad Force 1 beat them 8-0, and Next Blades have beat them 5-0, and Next Blades have beat them 8-0.
I have to say, on paper, it doesn't really look good for Spain Drone Team.
It doesn't, does it? It's going to be a short introduction if you're new to the DCL.
Yeah, and especially Next Blades absolutely killing it here on Saturday in Brussels.
Yeah, their qualifying times.
Yeah, they have the fastest 2 individual qualifying pilots in their team, Luke Bannister and Brett Collis. And Luke, not even, he clocked the fastest 3 consecutive laps, or fastest 2 consecutive laps, but he also clocked the fastest individual lap, which is 20.2 seconds. Super impressive work. But first up are Timothy Trowbridge and
Abel Herrera Costello.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It's a team effort, it's a team sport. So, Spain drone team with a lot to do here, but if you're going to come into a race feeling like, well, we've got nothing to lose, then a team who've beat you 8-0 and 5-0 in the past are probably the opposition to have. Spain drone team, literally nothing to lose. They're not really featuring in our season. They're a guest team here. Here we go. Let's see what they've got. Herrera Castello's in the white drone behind Timothy Trowbridge for Next Blades Racing in the dark blue one on your first sight live of the Mont as we are live here in Brussels around the Breitling Gate, the pylon and the Ibis Gate. Has Trowbridge in the lead over Herrera Castello. A little bit gingerly slow perhaps at his first race of the evening for Trowbridge. Half a second between him and Herrera Castello. He'll come out of the Sky Gate there and then around this corkscrew you go 180 then 360 degrees around the DCL pylon and then around again and out through the Brussels Gate. Head back over the end of the Mont des Arts, or not. What you've seen there is Trowbridge being told that Herrera Castello had already crashed, which means the point is automatically Trowbridge's. And so he's allowed to wrap that one up. And some of our pilots will carry on and do their other sort of second lap and maybe even start a third to get a bit more stick time and get a bit more familiarity with the course.
Yeah, let's take a look at what happened here.
Timothy decided
coming
just
out of the
enough.
gallery, and yeah, there's these trees here. Actually, now you can still see them, but over the course of the event, it will get a lot darker. And those trees are quite tricky, actually.
Yeah.
You really have to maintain your height well.
In 2017, we used them as a tunnel and flew under them.
Right on.
We're flying over them this time. So Trowbridge decides he doesn't need any more stick time on this course and he flies his home and the first point goes to Next Blade. So next up, his teammate Gary Kent will be getting ready to face off against Carlos J. Hometh Carril. There he is.
Gary Kent was the number 6 in qualifications today.
Okay.
Actually, all of Next Blade's pilots made it to the top 10 out of 32 pilots.
All 4 of them. That's a really, really good performance.
Yeah, super, super impressive.
Gary hasn't been good in qualifying for a while. Last time we were here in Brussels, he was 15th in qualifying, and out in Scimitar, when we raced on the Great Wall of China, he couldn't even get into the top 10. So Next Blades, when we last raced here in Brussels, they won it, and they've come back to race on this course again, and looking very, very confident, as you would be, having just won this course. But Gary's having trouble with batteries for those goggles. What you see there, that's the FPV, that's his first-person view goggles. That's what he uses, what all of our pilots use to see from cameras live footage on the drone as they fly it around the Mont des Arts. They're not flying it line of sight, they're flying it what we call FPV from the starting blocks high above those fountains that they fly over. But Gary...
Yes.
His drone is ready to go. That's the view from his drone, and that's the view that Gary now has. So,
this is where we can see 16.6 volts.
10 seconds countdown.
They are allowed to charge their batteries up to 16.8 volts, so it's a little bit on the low end, but let's see how he's going to manage.
Kent in blue, Hometh Carril, the fastest start, a tenth of a second quicker than him, but Kent's already passed him before they get to the end of that, roughly 80 metres straight out of the blocks. And Kent still in the lead through the Ibis Gate, and Hometh Carril taking a long way round to that, and then through DCL, and heads to the gallery, which is outside the library here in the Mont des Arts, with Gary Kent nearly, probably more like 2 or 3 seconds ahead of him. Kent's going extremely high into our corkscrew, and out of it and through the Brussels Gate. Hometh Carril's taking his time around. This is quite slow from both 2 pilots here. But Kent has the lead, and his teammates on stage can tell him it's all right, you've got this. Hometh Carril's got to catch you. Don't worry. Of course, with the camera only facing forward on your drone, you don't know where your opposition are, but your teammates can tell him that he's over 5 seconds behind in this case. Around that pylon, out of the Sky Gate, that red box you see lit up there, you fly into it and then have to fly out. Imagine a cube where you fly on one side and fly straight out of the top of it. The corkscrew is done. Hometh Carril is done. Ken flies through the Breitling Gate and he'll complete 2 laps there. Then the last part of our course is round the pylon. Split S for Gary through the Ibis Gate. You come out through the DCL Gate over the fountain and into the Red Bull Crash Gate. That's the extra part of a lap that you need to do. Meanwhile, Hometh Carril has managed to recover his drone. It was down, but if you can get it back up in the air, even if you can flip it using turtle mode, which is the way you right a drone, which is upside down, we allow that. And Hometh Carril has managed to recover the final part of the Mont des Arts. He's going to get it into the Crash Gate, which is important, because although he is nearly 20 seconds behind and doesn't win the heat point for his team, finisher points count, and you get a finisher point for completing all the laps, both in qualifying and in racing. And we'll talk about those later on as we see the difference they can make.
Yeah, Carril coming in a very weird angle here in the gallery, this is the smallest point, and there are some curtains hanging on the left side, also to protect the glass behind it, obviously. and he clipped it, but he was able to make it to the end, but it was too far too late. Also Gary Kent, you know, he was a 6th qualifier. He was just taking it easy, cruising around, doing his lap. A lot of confidence on his behalf.
So there's drones getting ready for single heats 3 and 4 on our starting block, and the next one will feature Brett Collis. That man there, pilot of the year after our 2017 season, and he's going to be racing against Arturo Dinero Rivera.
10 seconds countdown.
And Brett and Arturo Dinero Rivera met when we had the first of our races in the bullring in Madrid, and it was Dinero Rivera who crashed. And they are both out of the starting blocks at exactly the same time to the 100th of a second. I don't think I've ever actually seen that before. Collis has the lead though after the first turn in the Breitling gate, and he goes out over the fountains, flying through the DCL gate on the way, and he's coming through the gallery here. That's the view of the gallery. There's now nearly half a second between him and Dinero Rivera, so he's not quite escaped yet. But Collis looks like he's extending that lead into the corkscrew, but that is a place where some pilots are way, way quicker than others. Collis will come round and finish his first lap in a time of just over 30 seconds. Dinero Rivera, 3.63 behind him. Brett Collis comes up for his second run at the gallery. Will go on board with him. That's the narrowest point right there at the end of the curtains. It's 2.5 meters wide, which is quite a lot more than a drone, but not a lot when you are flying at high speed. Dinero Rivera has crashed his and recovered it. It's still back up in the air. He's a little bit lost over the centre of the Mont Collis, though, much quicker second lap for him, 25 seconds. He'll come through the Ibis Gate, DCL. Meanwhile, Rivera is still making his way back across the Mont Collis probably also realised that he was so far ahead of him. Dinero Rivera is chasing his finisher point with a fast split S over the Ibis Gate. He's going to end this lap in style if he can bring it into the crash gate speed, which he does. But it is 3-0 to their opposition.
Yeah, actually both of the pilots were struggling to make their way through the gallery, which is tricky, I have to say. And the tricky part is for the pilots, they have to line up their quad to make it into a straight line, because as soon as you start to steer inside of the gallery, as you can see here, steering to the left and to the right, there's just no space for it.
I think he's clipped a bit of the drapes there.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Which is fortunate that they're draped, because otherwise it's called clipping a bit of a concrete wall. But that one, as you can see, he managed to get back up in the air. It's feeling a little bit worse for wear, but it did make it to the finish. Finisher points, though, are what matters when it's a dead heat between heat points. And currently it is 3-0 to next place. But as we showed you at the beginning, in our big heat, up to 4 points are available. Be a hell of a performance to get all 4 of them over next place, though. And Spain drone team would like to grab this heat point with Adrian Lopez Hernandez. He has, however, Luke Bannister to contend with. And if you know anything about drone racing, you probably know about Luke Bannister. Lopez Hernandez with a slightly tiny gap in it of a better start. Bannister will leave him behind now, already half a second between, and Bannister with a much better, quicker route through the Ibis gates, and he's off at speed into the gallery. Fearless young pilot that he is. Lopez Hernandez hanging on to him by means of most of a second. There's a good quick exit of the Skygate and disappearing into the corkscrew with barely any time in between as we enjoy on board over the Mont Still in a bit of daylight here with Luke Bannister just under 30 seconds, making his all the way around in just under 3 seconds. Lopez Hernandez behind him. Bannister will come up to the gallery again and whiz through that at great speed. Here's his view of that skybox when you go in the front now to the top. Beautifully done. Almost a whole split S for Luke as he leaps it straight back around the DCL pylon, and Lopez Hernandez is just taking that now. Meanwhile, Bannister completes lap 2. That pylon, that Ibis gate, no problem for him at all. One more DCL gate to finish and into the crash gates. Little bit of a bounce on the way in. Lopez Hernandez is finishing. We're getting a good finish. Oh! Is that in? Possibly. Possibly not. Maybe.
Nice.
Yeah, just about hanging in there. There it is. That's in the crash gates.
Yeah, I'm so impressed by Luke Bannister. He's been flying great all weekend, during practice, during qualification, in the knockouts. This kid really has it together.
It's good to see him back and back at speed, isn't it? We had him join us earlier on in the season. He'd taken months off for studies then.
Yeah, and look
he was saying how out of practice he was, and he was doing okay, but he wasn't as fast as we know a previous world champion would be. So it's 4-0 to the next place. There's Luke on stage. looking a little bit tense. He seemed a little bit nervous at times yesterday. He was very, very sort of like, oh, phew, that race is over. Oh, I've got that one in the bag as well. But he did have great performances, and he is first in qualifying today. So he has figured this course out.
Yeah, this is the heat from Luke that we just looked at from a different perspective. And what I'm so impressed by is the smoothness of his flight. And by smoothness, I mean this guy really focuses on perfecting his racing lines. And as you could see here, entering the gallery, he really lines up the quad quite perfectly. Coming out of the gallery with a lot of speed, entering the anti-gravity gate, and this is where he really sticks next to the cone on the corkscrew. A lot of speed, especially because he keeps the momentum going. So, yeah, it's I cannot express enough how smooth and fast this pilot is.
Yeah, Luke is back, ladies and gentlemen, and we're glad to have him. I don't just mean back with Next Blades here in Brussels. I mean somewhat showing us what an amazing pilot he can be. Really, really fast qualifying times today from him. And this is the guy who won the World Drone Prix of Dubai, a couple of years ago, 2 years ago now. So very, very famous for winning that $1 million tournament there. We will go to the big heat now then. All 4 drones of Next Blades Racing against all 4 of Spain Drone Team. You'll need all 4 of them to be white at the front. The Spain Drone Team will take this to a heat points decider on finisher points. Lopez Hernandez is up front. I think it's white, blue, white, blue, white and blue. Beautiful start from both teams, but 1, 2, 3 of the white ones are already down. Timothy Trowbridge has the lead out of the gallery. It's Lopez Hernandez who's mixing it up in an otherwise all blue, all Next Blades, all British, all world champion race. Lopez Hernandez is gone somewhere wide on that corkscrew and brings it back in, and one of his teammates, I think it's Thomas Carril, has managed to get back in here. But Collis has Bannister and Kent for company as it's all blue on the start of lap 2. Into the gallery goes Collis with Luke Bannister behind him and Gary Kent. No, Bannister's past him. Collis and Kent now have, there you go, Bannister's view over the top of the skybox. Collis sees him as he exits into it, and as he goes through the corkscrew and back across the Mont, Bannister's in front of him, showing him the way. Half a second between them, it doesn't matter. It could be 1, 2, 3 and 4. Lopez Hernandez though wants to fight it out. He wants to get a white drone in third instead of Trowbridge or Kent. Let's go on board with him, and he brings it in. Lopez Hernandez upsets the clean sweep from Next Blades Racing. He'll be pleased to have turned that into a bit more of a scrap because he was 5th for a while, but he caught 3rd and 4th. He got 3rd for Spain Drone Team. But all of that aside, it is Next Blades making their way to the semi-finals as we expected, and another 6-0. I beg your pardon, it'll be 6-0 with those 2 points they get from the big heat. We say goodbye to Spain Drone Team again.
Unfortunately, but it was to be expected. Next Blades on paper really is kicking some ass this day. This is just the excitement of the big heat, you know, chasing around through these quads. And actually Hernandez did very well here. Managed to take 3rd place, which is something he can really be proud of. A beautiful last corner by Luke Bannister, which is a blind corner, you know. They don't hit the crash gate every lap. It's something they really have to think of. And what I'm going to look at is the pilots that are taking that corner and just nailing it and hitting the crash gate on full speed, rather than having to turn around, make a second attempt, or even hitting the side of the gate, which we've seen happen, unfortunately.
Yeah. So it is Next Blades Racing through to our first semi-final, which will be later on this evening. And we'll find out shortly in our second quarter-final whether they're going to race Swiss Black Kites or whether they're going to face a team that they know extremely well and are chasing at the top of our leaderboard, because Rotorama from the Czech Republic are coming up next, and that is a grudge match to look forward to. Quarterfinals number 2, it's going to be red and it's going to be purple. The purple ones look a lot like that, with their little megalodon fins, their little shark fins on the back.
Yeah, as we can see here, the weather is not too good. It's a bit of rain we've had all day. Yeah. So we have some umbrellas, the pit girls. They are trying to keep the drones as dry as possible, but they can take a bit of rain actually. It's not that big of a problem. Yeah, they can.
Yeah, you didn't mean this stuff. Onto the stage, then we welcome the team who are currently leading our season for 2018. Quite a lot of support, I know, with our online audience who love the Czech Republic team and are having a bit of fun here on the Mont as well. We welcome Rotorama! Top of our leaderboards. Second, last time we raced in Brussels, 2 next blades. May face next blades in a semi-final instead of a grand final this time. If, however, they can beat out their opposition, who are the owners of those purple Megalodon drones, and they are the Swiss Black Kites. The Swiss drones belonging to the Swiss Black Kites led onto the stage by Mirko Szena, with Yannick Glauser, Raphael Strahl and Michael Isler behind him. On the other side of the stage, it's David Svoboda, Jan Votava, Jakob Thoman and Lukas Lemversky for Rotorama. That's the Swiss Black Kites huddle that we always get. They're the only team who do that, I think. Surprised other teams haven't adopted it, particularly here, because it's cold this evening, Martijn. It's getting a bit nippy here, as well as wet. So it's Goggles getting ready, it's Jones getting plugged in. Raphael Strahl is enjoying the audience here right in front of our stage, as we are as well. Yannick Glauser and then Mirko Szena.
Always happy.
Yep.
So these teams on paper are very well matched. Rotorama 4th in qualification, Swiss Black Kites 5th. Also looking at the qualification results from individual pilots who will now face up against each other. I think this is going to be an exciting race.
Yeah.
First up is Mirko Szena against David Svoboda. And Svoboda didn't really have a successful qualification run. Compared to last race we've had here, he's 10 seconds slower. I think actually he had some crashes. That's why I'm seeing some poor results on his behalf.
Rotorama against Swiss Black Kites. That's always gone one way, that way being Rotorama. And they beat the Swiss Black Kites in a quarter-final last time we raced here in Brussels. So we've been here before. It has always been, actually, whenever these two teams have met, it's always been 5-1 to Rotorama. They've won 3 of the single heats. Let's see what Svoboda can do against Szena, who's got a much, much faster start. Szena away around the far point of DCL pylon there and out through the Ibis gate. DCL gate, no problem for him, but Svoboda is not letting him have all this to himself. We're on board with Szena, who's in the lead. Svoboda with a little bit of work to do after the exit of the gallery, and he's pulling it back now. You can see different routes from the skybox to the corkscrew for both of those pilots. And back across the Mont they come as we hit lap number 2 with Svoboda taking that final pylon and the lead, and then Szena taking it back from him after being a little bit wider on the team but carrying more speed. We're on board with Szena, who's now got Svoboda out in front of him, underneath him and hovering all over the view. To the skybox we go. Szena's got lost though around that pylon, and that's going to probably hand this to Svoboda, who is now out of the corkscrew as Szena enters it, and back across the Mont Svoboda's got that lead. Szena lost so much time there. It's small fractions between pilots of this caliber. Svoboda's out through the Ibis gate, heads towards the crash gate and buries it in there in a time of just over 1 minute. Szena is in the side of the crash gate, managed, having hit it, to still score a finisher point for landing it in there. I wasn't sure it was going to be a bounce out, to be honest.
Yeah.
But Svoboda was chasing him until Szena had a bit of a mistake.
This is what racing's all about. Look at this, side by side, literally amazing, amazing racing. Szena unfortunately made the wrong corner here, had to go back, and that's where he lost all that time.
Yeah, he's going to be a little bit frustrated watching that back, I'm sure, because at the moment he may not realise. He'll be aware that he had to sort of go and repeat something to make sure he definitely got it right, because of course if you miss a turn then you're going to be disqualified from that.
10 seconds countdown.
Jan Votava will take on Yannick Glauser in our second single heat. welcoming back Jan Votava. He didn't join us out at the Great Wall of China. When they raced in Madrid, though, Glauser beat him. So let's see what they've got here. It's Glauser in the lead. Votava was very close to him, but overshot that kind of turn a little bit. But pilots like to approach these things differently. Votava seems to be one of those pilots who come in a bit wider but carry more speed. When he does, Glauser, though, is hit one of the pillars, I think, on the right-hand side as you flying through the gallery of the library, and I don't believe anybody's hit that side in our previous races of 2018. Votava may be down as well, but he'd got further. Unless either of those drones can be recovered.
Oh, it almost seemed like Glauser was still able to get up, but he's not. No.
If you can, remember you can continue. And it's which pilot gets the furthest if both of them have crashed. Both pilots are done here, and we'll get confirmation of which one has made it to where. Let's look at that again.
Yeah, this was the first crash, and this is where we see Glauser not really cutting that corner properly.
Wow.
And if you have to correct your racing line inside that gallery, as I mentioned before, it's all trouble from there. And this is where we see Jan Votava clipping the anti-gravity gate.
He clipped something on the top of it.
Yep.
It's basically a cube, and it would seem that he pulled up so quickly to try and fly out of the top of it that he hit the bar you fly under to go in.
Yeah,
Glauser's drone hit two of the concrete pillars on the right-hand side. Those aren't protected. That's a bit of bruising right there. So it's 2 for Rotorama, and Rafael Strahl will race next against Jakob Thoman. They haven't met this season, so it'll be interesting to see what these two pilots have got. These two pilots who we know very well, who were with us throughout 2017. We go with Thoman against Strahl. Thoman leaves the blocks in red. Strahl in purple, the Breitling gates. Sees Thoman. After that, you fly up over those trees to take it around that pile and then back to Split S, or however you wish to approach that Ibis gate. Strahl behind Thoman. That timing's a little bit misaligned. As you can see, it's definitely the red one in front and out of the skybox. A great view there of how you attack it. Strahl comes around about 180 degrees behind Thoman and hits the exit of it, the Brussels gate on the exit of the corkscrew. Strahl is down there, and I think he's pretty much staying down. Martin has mentioned low battery on screen there. Thoman brings it in for a finisher point. Strahl having low battery problems at that part of the course on his first lap.
Yeah, probably not. Yeah, what we call that is the on-screen display, short OSD, and the amount of power output sometimes triggers the OSD to tell them they have low battery. Yeah, it's not always a problem. Let's take a look at the crash from Strahl, ending up on the low end of the corkscrew. It's a very difficult corner. This is where you can really make or break your race, and he was obviously trying to catch him. 3-0 for Rotorama.
Yep, so Swissback Kites seeing their chances of the semi-finals slipping a bit away now, and there is Rafael Strahl.
10 seconds
feeling
countdown.
a little bit, maybe a little bit sore out of that one, but we go to our fourth single heat. Remember, we work through our pilots in terms of qualifying times. So these are the fastest in qualifying for each team, and they are Lucas Lenversky against Michael Isler. Lenversky in red, out of the Breitling gate he goes. Isler with him. Lenversky's a brilliant pilot for Rotorama, one of the quieter ones, but he knows what he's doing. So, however, does Michael Isler, and we've not seen a lot of him in 2018, so it'll be an interesting challenge for him if he can catch Lenversky. As you can see, it's quick around the corkscrew, but Lenversky seems to exit that to the left and will be under review. Isler's now got some lead over him after Lenversky dropped somewhat out of that race. He's back in it, he's still in it. If Isler crashes this and Lenversky can pass him, then he'll take it to 4 for Rotorama. So Isler's being gifted one here. Corkscrew, no problem for him, and then he's got Lenversky gaining on him. Lenversky is not entirely out of this at all. They're at opposite ends of the Mont though. There's not much course left, and it's most of 2 seconds. If we were doing 3 laps, I think Lenversky would be a lot closer. As you can see, he wasn't far behind at the end, but Isler gets one on the board for the purple team. 3-1 for Rotorama.
Yeah, Lenversky is such a talented pilot. He actually got in all sorts of trouble. Here in the corkscrew it happened. it seemed like his quad just dropped out of the sky there, but he was able to get back up, get back in the air.
There it goes. Now Lucas is actually...
Now we see him filing a protest. There could be problems there. With the drone falling out of the sky, it could mean that he has a transmission issue and the radio not being properly connected to the drone.
So what Lucas might have done there is dropped his drone to the ground when he thinks he had a video issue, and rather than fly it unable to see it, which is unsafe, he dropped it out. That's going to get investigated by our Chief Judge Lucas Baumann and his team. And we'll see whether that point sticks for Swiss Black Kites. If there's a problem with his drone and that's how he lost video signal and that's why he crashed, then that point will stick. But if it's a trackside problem, if it's nothing to do with the drone and it's just an issue in live racing in a place which, remember, was designed by royalty, probably not for drone racing in, then we'll get a rerun. But while that is being worked out, the big heat will get ready, so it might be that we come back and rerun between Isler and Lemversky, but before that's known to us, the big heat, we'll see all 8 drones take to the air. So Rotorama making good work here, as we've seen them do against Swiss Black Kites before, and as we've seen them do when racing on the Mont before. David Svoboda beating out Mirko Cezena. Both of them getting to the finish. Votava and Glauser. 2 early exits for them, but it was Votava who got the point after making it further than Glauser. Jakob Thoman for Rotorama beating out Raphael Strahl after Strahl crashed his, and then Isler and Lemversky is, I believe, still under review. So it's going to be 3-1 going into this big heat unless we rerun the 4th single heat of Isler and Lemversky. So if you're Swiss Black Kites, if you're a team in purple on the right-hand side of our starting blocks, as you can see there, you want to bag as much as you can to make that rerun academic. You want to put a load of points on the board here. You need definitely at least 3 of them, because it's 3-1 if that last single heat sticks. And if it doesn't... So yeah, the protest is about a failsafe on his drone, on Lucas Lemversky's Rotorama drone. So what we'll do is we'll enjoy the big heat that's in front of us. If it's a clean sweep by Swiss Black Kites, if they come in 1st, 2nd, 3rd and 4th, rerun, whatever, it doesn't matter. It'll be 4-3 to Swiss Black Kites, and they'll go to the semi-finals to race against Next Blades. And what Rotorama do, and this is interesting, what Rotorama do, as we've talked about before, Martin, is they disrupt big heats. They don't try and win them. They're usually in the lead when they get to them, as they are here, being 3-1 or possibly 4-0 up, depending on that rerun situation and how that one's getting reviewed.
10 seconds countdown.
So they're in the lead going into this. What they normally do is just disrupt the other team from getting all the points they need, but here, they don't know how many points that is.
No, exactly. So I think they will go guns blazing and go for that #1 seat.
Czech Republic in red, Switzerland in purple. And at the far end of the course, Lucas Lemversky, who's awaiting the result of his protest, is racing around the Ibis Gate with a few drops of rain on his lens. That is, remember, exactly what the pilots can see. What you're seeing is exactly what they're flying with. And for Lucas Lemversky, it's getting a bit grubby for him. Around the corkscrew he goes, out in the lead, and it's purple, purple, purple behind him. If Lemversky struggles, then the Swiss Black Kites are ready to take a whole load of points from them. You only get lots of points in the big heat for being first and then consecutive places behind them. Out we go with Lemversky. Up front, Isler, however, looks like he's crashed it out of here. He might recover. Strahl and Glauser are still in it, but Thoman has passed both of them. Glauser and Strahl are fighting it out with each other. Cezena may have gone the wrong way. That's why you're seeing under review for wrong flight on screen. Svoboda's still in this, but some way behind. Lemversky comes out through the Ibis Gate to complete his 2 laps and is very high looking for the crash gate. Thoman's and Lemversky are in. Strahl will lead the way home. Cezena, in fact, just pipped him to it. Glauser may even have got in there in front of him as well after Strahl took a little bit longer. That is a good set of places for Swiss Black Kites if they weren't with red ones in front of them. So regardless of the rerun, 2 points for Rotorama here in this big heat. It means they're definitely going through, and it means we have a rematch of our last grand final here in Brussels, because it's going to be Next Blades against Rotorama, only this time in a semi-final. Losing a team at that stage is going to be a little bit more dramatic in terms of the points they don't gain for the season. 5-1 sees Rotorama definitely playing that semi. Exciting stuff, but the Swiss Black Kites leave us as they have done in quarterfinals a few times. And 5-1 is in fact the third time out of 3 that Rotorama have beat them.
Yeah, so Michael Isler was the one pilot that was still in the race to take that first place. Having a big mid-air collision there, as you could see, which miraculously was unaffected, unaffected the Rotorama pilot. Let's find out who that was. I think that was Jakob Thoman. But meanwhile, let's have a word with Rotorama.
So we're chatting with Michael Isler of Swiss Black Kites, who've given us a good challenge there, and it's exciting to see you racing on the Mont again. But unfortunately, our purple drones and the Megalodon fins are done here at the quarterfinals. That must be hard to take.
Yeah, it's very hard. We put up a good fight, and just this time it didn't work out, I guess.
Just this time it didn't work out. Is that what we put it down to? It was a good finish in the big heat in particular. Yeah. You came in, it's just those red ones up front again.
The big heat, I had a mid-air. I think it was second in the second lap, and then I had a mid-air with the first guy. I think it was Jacob. Unfortunately, this one kicked me out, but I don't even know who finished second.
It was red, unfortunately, and you guys came in 3rd, 4th, and 5th. I'm sorry to break that to you. So you're going to be leaving us at this stage, but you've had a good time with DCL this season. We've seen you at a couple of our races.
It's every day a good time at the DCL so far. I only missed Madrid and 3 weeks in Zurich, hometown.
Oh, well, we'll look forward to see what Swiss Black Kites go when we do our season finale in Zurich in a few weeks' time. But for now, commiserations to the Swiss Black Kites, and Rotorama are into the semi-finals.
Yep. So, no, that wasn't Rotorama. It was Swiss Black Kites, obviously. Michael Isler. Disappointment on their faces. It was still up for grabs for that big heat. But Rotorama, our leader of the season, was a big challenge for them. Too big of a challenge, actually.
Yeah. So, we'll load up our starting blocks with our brilliant crew, and we'll welcome the teams who were 3rd and 6th in qualifying. And we're going to bring onto the stage, up into 3rd, their best result in qualifying for this whole season so far. They are green, they are Air Carvers Germany. Lucas Val woos our way onto the stage with Sebastian Brandes, Maita Maidbol and Bastian Hackel coming onto the stage behind them. And they light up the stage, the Air Carvers Germany. This is their best chance this whole season to be in a semi-final after they put in good performances today. They are clearly getting to grips with the Mont Arts here. But their team that are racing against 6th in qualifying, but that's not really indicative of what they can do. From Japan, we welcome DMM Raiden Racing. They come onto the stage, led by Axel Mario Christopher Lengkong. All 14 years of him. He is the best pilot out of Indonesia. He's joined with Junichi Goto, Kazuma Asami, and Takumi Suzuki. That's Takumi Suzuki there on the left of your picture. He's 13 from Japan. Next to him, the 17-year-old Kazuma Asami. Next to him, the would be impolite to say, and Junichi Goto. He's the daddy of the team, very much. As you heard, if you have ever seen our earlier races and seen the team talking about him, they say he's old, but he has the spirit of a teenager. Yeah. I love that. That's what that young superstar Axel Mario Christopher Lengkong, that's what he called him.
I really hope that the Air Carvers Germany are going to make this happen. For the first time this season, make it to the semi-finals.
Yeah. So what have they done today, Martijn, which has meant that they are third in qualifying, because that's the best result they've had all year?
Yeah, well, one thing that happened is Bastian Hackel happened.
Ah, yeah.
Great pilot. He's the 5th overall in qualification. But not just 5th, he's also clocked a very, very fast individual lap time, which is only 100th of a second slower than Luke Bannister's.
That's really good.
So they have a great team, but maybe Axel Lenkong is going to spoil that party.
And there's a story here. He is such a brilliant pilot. We've seen him clocking up tons of points this year. He picked up in his first race of the season way back in the Munich Olympic Park. He picked up, I think it was 5 possible points out of 6, which was only done by 2 people in the whole of 2017. And in his first race for DCL, first time on a live stage in an Olympic Park, surrounded by people and racing over a lake, he got 5 out of 6. Nobody else has done that, I think, this whole season. But today, young Axel Mario Christopher Lenkong struggled in qualifying, so his day is not as good.
No, actually, there's a big gap between Lucas Waal and Axel Lenkong's qualifying times. It's nearly 3 seconds difference between them over the course of 2 laps. That doesn't sound big, but it is actually.
Now, Lucas Waal, if he's got an opposition here in the shape of Lenkong, who's maybe not having his best day, Lucas Waal really needs a good one, because of the 7 single heats he's raced this year, he's crashed in 6 of them. So, Lucas Waal, the first thing you need to do is get to the finish, and I hope that Lenkong is behind you. And we're saying that Air Carvers Germany, this is their best opportunity. They've gone out at quarterfinals at every stage. They're third in qualifying here. So they're clearly getting the grips with this course in these conditions today better than most other pilots. However, their opposition are Raiden Racing, who are 6th. But as we said, that's not really indicative of how good they are. And the last time we raced here on the Mont in Brussels, these teams faced each other in a quarterfinal, and Raiden Racing won 3-2. And that was 2-all going into the big heat. But when they raced before, Raiden Racing won 5-0. And when they raced before that, Raiden Racing won 5-2. It's only ever been yellow beating green. But Air Carvers Germany, if you want to get out of the quarterfinals, then this is a good opportunity. It starts with Waal against Lenkong. Waal in green for Air Carvers Germany, and Lenkong in the lead in yellow for DMM Raiden Racing. Different routes from both of them to Ibis Gate, but they come out not too far apart. However, Waal very hesitant out of it, while Lenkong disappears off through the gallery. Around that DCL pylon, as you can see, it's got a lot darker now, the Sky Gates. Sees Lenkong exit it. Waal is not even close to it until he actually gets very, very close to it. Lenkong was on his way around the corkscrew and onto second lap. Waal is into the walls inside. He might recover that. Indeed, I think he may have actually got that back up in the air. Lenkong is well on his way halfway around lap 2 though, and yes, Waal is back up into the race, but in air terms only. Lenkong completes it. You can see there he is, like, what is he? He's a pincher. He's a little bit of a pincher using thumbs and forefingers. Some pilots like thumbs on top of sticks. Lenkong's a pincher there, and he is wrapping this up. Not completing the final bit of it, because Waal is down again, and I'm hearing that Waal might even be receiving a yellow card. I suspect when he tried to recover that drone, he may have over-recovered it in terms of going too high. Lucas Bellman on our stage may have shown him a yellow card. Yeah, confirmed. Lucas has picked up a yellow card there.
Lucas in the beginning here was in all sorts of trouble. Here
that's where he lost a load of time at the start of the first lap.
Yeah, he went through that DCL gate sideways, not being able to line up his quad properly for the gallery.
That's a little bit smoother here.
Into it on his second lap.
And that was after he'd hit the Sky Gate as well. Yep. That all went all kinds of wrong for him. First point is yellow. It's Lenkong's for DMM Raiden Racing. So we have Sebastian Brandes against Junichi Goto coming up next. Lucas Waal quite often on stage with a smile on his face, but yeah, that one's hurting. Brandes.
10 seconds countdown.
So Junichi Goto does not have his FPV goggles down, so I am suspecting, and actually we can see from the video feed we get here at the commentary desk of the live feed of all of the drones, he's not even taking part in this race. Some problem for the yellow drone of Junichi Goto, and Sebastian Brandes doesn't want to get any stick time in. He's just putting it into the gate. Looks like okay. Doesn't feel like he wanted to get any extra laps of practice in.
No.
Just wanted to get the finisher point. If he got some laps of practice in that crash before he got to the end, he wouldn't get the finisher point, and you might need them now or later on. So one clean finisher point, and it's 1-all.
So Junichi Goto probably having some technical issues with his drone. And that's got to be hard on the pilot.
Yeah, particularly as his video is now sparked into life on the starting blocks. Junichi can now see what he would have been flying at. Too late, however. Gift for Sebastian Brandes. Malte Maibom had a good time in qualifying.
Malte Maibom, yes, absolutely. He did a great job. He was 7th place in overall qualifications. And looking at his opponent, Asami.
Yeah. But unfortunately, Asami is not looking at any video from his drone right now. It's cold here. It is actually bitterly cold now in Brussels. They're on this stage on top of the Mont. A great crowd in front of them. We're next to them. And it is cold here. Drone, no, we've got video now. That's all on. And armed up. So there you go. There's the view.
So jumping back to the qualification results, Asami has clocked a 50.6 seconds. Qualification time, Malte Maibom, a 43.2. There's a big difference between them.
10 seconds.
Let's see if Malte Maibom's smooth racing lines are going to do the job here.
He is smooth, but Kazuma Asami is fearless. He was 3rd in the Japanese Drone League. He was 1st in the Drone Nationals of Japan, but he is away slightly behind Malte Maibom, who was 10th in the German Masters last year. And he is now behind. Asami has passed him, and out of the Ibis gate they go. Weval had a bit of a slow exit. This is much smoother from Maibom, as you pointed out, Marta, and it is the way he flies. But Asami, I said he's fearless, and he's a little bit more aggressive. And out of the skybox, he comes with a lot of spots of rain on that lens. It's not just cold, but the umbrellas are going up on the Mont because it is getting wet again. Asami comes on the lap too, with Maibom only half a second behind him now. He's not letting him get away. And he comes down on the Ibis gate with a brilliant split S. Looks like a little bit sort of hesitant afterwards. He closed in on the gate very quickly. There's his view. Spots of rain on his lens as he sees Asami heading into the skybox, but keeping up with him. Maibom and Asami is not done yet. They'll head back over the Mont d'Arc, come through the Breitling gates. It's now a little bit less than half a second, but Maibom's got a lot of work to do. And that Split S takes the lead. And he had the lead over Asami, except for the final closed air gates. Maibom doing exactly what he needed to do, seizing the opportunity when he had it right at the end, but clipped the inside of that final DCL gate. Asami's points is DMM Racing's advantage. Oh, that was exciting stuff all the way to the end. Might has taken that clash quite well. Some pilots will be kicking themselves for that one. This is it.
Yeah, this was, in general, this was a beautiful race. This was the last corner. And Malte Maibom really made a big push there, trying to catch up with Asami.
As you can see there, if you've got your FPV goggles with you, you can tune in to exactly what the pilots are seeing. We have the frequencies available. You can bring your own drone racing goggles and you can see exactly what any of the 8 pilots are seeing, as well as on the screens, of course, that we have here trackside for people to see. Hackle, Bastian, Hackle, and Takumi Suzuki go for our 4th single heats between DMM Raiden Racing and Air Carvers Germany, and it is Suzuki with the yellow drone in the lead over Hackle's green drone for Air Carvers Germany. 2 terrific pilots here. 4th in the Japanese Drone League was Takuma Suzuki, 1 place behind the guy we've just seen, Kazuma Asami. And Takuma Suzuki is 4 years his younger. He's just 13, this incredible pilot. Bastian Hackle, 21 from Austria. You might know him as Zaki FPV. Right now he is over 2.5 seconds behind Takumi Suzuki. Second lap, Takumi pulled very tightly out of that DCL gate. Had to fly a little bit left to find his entrance into the gallery, but Hackle is down. And Takumi comes out of the sky gates around that corkscrew. That's a high gained altitude as he came out of that, but smiles on Bastian Hackle's face as he waves the red protest flag. He seems confident that a rerun is going to be granted. So Takumi Suzuki does that little spin we're seeing a lot of pilots do, Martin, as they fly towards the crash gate.
Yeah,
and have a bit of a look around before they go in.
A lot of drops on the lens as well. You know, it's still raining here.
It's raining quite heavily now. There's a lot of rain coming down now.
It's quite tricky for the pilots. Bastian Hackle was having video problems. I was looking at his feed, And
that's Bastian Hakel's drone.
Yeah, he decided to put it down.
He is very fortunate to put it down between those fountains.
Oh, yeah.
They are netted, but, you know, they are wet, and drones do get a little bit of a dip. So, another protest in. We're in that situation again where a team are 3-1 or maybe not.
Look, here we see the video problems with Bastian Hakel. This is absolutely unflyable. So he decided to turn around and land.
In fact, it dropped out pretty much as he was bringing it down. So, as we mentioned earlier, that'll get investigated, and if it seemed to be not any problem whatsoever to do with the drone, then a rerun will get granted to him. You can see there the rain coming down. That's the view just to the side of our stage. Sebastian looked confident that putting that drone down because he couldn't fly it and it wasn't going to be his fault. Why? Meanwhile, on our starting blocks, glowing in the rainy night sky, are 8 drones ready to go. I think we'll be probably going for the big heat before we know. And it's difficult when that happens for pilots. The DCL's Red Bull crash gate awaits. For now, Takumi Suzuki's given the heat point over Bastian Hakel, but I believe that is still under review. So they're investigating that still. And it's tricky for pilots if they go into a big heat. Lucas Baumann on our stage, though, I think he may be able to clear up whether there will be a rerun if it's needed.
Protest from Team Air Covers for video issues. A rerun will be granted after the big heat if it can change the outcome of the overall heat.
Thank you very much, Lucas Baumann. So Bastian was confident in putting his drone down. That means it's 3-0 going into the big heat. And if we need a point to settle it after the big heat is done, then we will get to see Suzuki and Hakel race it out again. But for now, all of our pilots get ready for the 8 drones to take to the air in the brilliant DCL big heat. So, we know that's not quite right after that rerun needing to happen again, which means I think actually, Martijn, I think you're right in correcting me that it's 2-1.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So Air Carvers have 1 point, Raiden Racing have confirmed 2 points.
Yeah, because Suzuki doesn't get that full single heat one after he's going to end up with a rerun against Bastian Hakel. So,
exactly.
2-1 then going into a big heat means you really do want to pack this thing out with drones of your colour at the front. And you can see all of Air Carvers Germany ready. And on this side, it's DMM Raiden Racing. A little bit of video issues for Takumi Suzuki on the left of the team. On the right here, that's Goto and Lenkong. But Suzuki's drone, a lot of interference. That's Lenkong's view. That's what he's going to be flying with. Remember, that's exactly it. We are live here from the Mont Brussels with the Drone Champions League and our 8th race of our 2018 Drone pre-season, and what you're seeing there is what an FPV pilot sees in wet conditions and cold conditions as we have here. That, however, is what Takumi Suzuki is looking at. I told you he was having some interference issues. Martijn, what are we looking at there? That is a whole load of scrolling problems. That is super hard to fly with.
Yeah, actually, it's not possible to fly like that. What we could be looking at here is that there's another drone powered on, still on track, on that channel.
And it may well be, well, he was on that channel just now.
It could also be video problems and technical issues on behalf of his drone.
That's a challenge, isn't it? He might take off like that.
No, you can't fly like that.
Air Carvers Germany, the other one's DMM Raiden Racing. Remember, this is a chance for Air Carvers Germany in green to make it to their first semi-final this season. It's too little too late. You can't race in 7 Drone Prix of a World Championship and go out in the quarterfinals of all of them, and across those 6 races only pick up across those 7 races, only pick up 3 5th places and have any hope of being at the top of the leaderboard at a season. So Air Carvers Germany currently down in 7th of our season on 240 points to get 80th coming 5th. They've managed that 3 times. Will they go out of this quarterfinal? Well, they are 2-1 behind DMM Raiden Racing. there's a point available if we have to rerun that fourth single heat. We're talking a lot of numbers here. I hope this helps you understand wherever you are joining us. Thank you for joining us live here at the Mont. Two amazing teams looking to bring you a really exciting big heat in our third quarterfinal here. Takumi Suzuki is going to fly with that picture. And all 7 of the other pilots are ready to go as well. They're all up in the air, including the terrible video for Suzuki, although his has dropped out completely now. Yeah, his video issues have gone from bad to worse. Up front goes green, green, and green. Air Carvers, Germany, Brandes, Maibom and Vol switching places around between them. So Goto and Asami decide they'd like to switch some places around with them as well. Len Kong is in the fight here too. Look at this, green and yellow over the Monte Arts. And Val has come a bit of a cropper here. He's really had a bit of a difficult time whenever we've been in Brussels. Maitza Maibom with that great single heat earlier. He's leading it. Len Kong is fighting it out with him though. They'll go into the gallery and Len Kong is in the lead now. Maitza Maibom has a yellow drone in front of him and Brandes is coming in third. Remember, you only get multiple points in the big heat for coming in first and then consecutive places behind them. So green right now, it's not 2 points for them. It's 1 for Len Kong and Raiden Racing, and that will be enough to secure them the semi-final spots. And Len Kong does it. And Maibom comes in over the top of the crash gate, trying to finish it at speed as he had to do. I don't think he's in there. I think he's over the top of it. I think Hackle might even get third from him. Nevertheless, Goto came in second. Nevertheless, 2 points are bagged for DMM Raiden Racing. There was possibly going to be a rerun of a single heat, but only one is available. They can't turn it around. I think Air Carvers Germany leave us again in the quarterfinals.
I'm afraid they do indeed. Axel Lankong spoiled the party from Air Carvers Germany there. Seeing the final results 4-1. It's so unfortunate, you know. It looked so good for Air Carvers Germany on paper. Let's take a look at the crash from Asami here. Ending up on the low end of that corner. And yeah, again, those small trees standing there are becoming, as the evening sets, more and more difficult to see. So the pilots really have to remain their altitude. Let's talk to DMM Raiden Racing, who made their way to the semifinals. Junichi Goto.
We did have Junichi Goto. He's just with his teammates here, but I've grabbed Axel Mario Christopher Len Kong, who's looking very happy. Congratulations to you. You're in another semi-final.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's been a good race, and I had a quite bad start but I managed to keep it in first because I got the bad start because my hands are freezing.
Yeah, he's even worn his way through his little glove here. It is cold here, isn't it? And that is a difficult thing to deal with as a pilot.
Yeah, of course. Because my home country is tropical, so I don't really used to this.
We should be racing in Indonesia, really, shouldn't we? But instead, we find ourselves in cold and wet in Brussels. But we are loving it here. You're enjoying this course?
Yeah, of course. It's a tight course, and I love it.
You go to the semi-finals. Congratulations to you, and we'll see them, and we'll find out who they're going to race next.
What a machine. Axel Lankong. Super young pilot from Indonesia, 14 years old only. Absolute savage on the track. And it's interesting, he was wearing gloves. He's not used to this weather, I can imagine, being from Indonesia. And what you could see is that he cut off the index finger and the thumb. And that's what he uses to grab on to the sticks of the remote. It's an interesting strategy, huh? The gloves.
Yeah, a few of those pilots have got it. They are young, remember, they're 13, 17, not 13 and 17.
I think he began...
young Axel there, that brilliant professional from the Enfield. Remember, he's just 14 years old.
14 years old. Yep.
Quarterfinal number 4, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, features a team we have come to know and love and expect to be loud. We welcome the light blues with a bit of whites and red. They are Quad Force 1. Jonathan Templeton, Evan Turner, Alex Campbell, and Andy Marakilian. And their opposition will be flying in orange, and with a couple of stand-in pilots who you may know from previous races, we welcome China Dragons. So onto our stage are the China Dragons, who have brought a completely different lineup of pilots to our race here in Brussels. Now there's two pilots who are joining them from China. They are Hinkin Yu, who's on the furthest right of the picture there, and that man in the middle getting connected up is Kaki Leung, who put in such a great performance with our wildcard team Hellhound when we raced on the Great Wall of China and our previous races in Scimitar. He's joined by Andre Krasny in the middle, just going off the left of your picture there, and at the other end of the team is Vince Irie. Andre Krasny and Vince Irie have joined us because two of China Dragon's pilots couldn't get here to Brussels due to the typhoon, which is affecting so many people and making life difficult in China. We wish everyone the very best in the recovery of that and learning, you know, to live after those the devastation we've seen from that typhoon.
Yeah,
and a couple of pilots couldn't make it here. So we also thank Andre Krasny and Vince Irie, two pilots we know from last season, for joining in very, very, very at the last moment.
Yeah, 2-day notice. Yep.
Playing.
Both of them actually great friends of mine. They both live in the Netherlands. We fly together quite often, part of Team SQG.
Getting a team mention in, look at you.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Just squeezing it in there.
Yeah, they're great guys. They are obviously, you know, still experienced pilots, but they're flying here with drones that aren't the ones they would normally fly with. Every pilot can have between 3 and 5 drones. There are certain parameters that they have to fit to in order to be compatible with our tracks and legal on our race courses. So they are flying drones that they are not used to at all. It's going to be light blue for Quad Force 1. It's going to be orange for China Dragons. Jonathan Templeton will take on Hinkin Yu in the first of our single heats of quarterfinal number 4. Templeton is through the Brightling Gate. Where did you go? Hinkin Yu was out of the blocks, 10th of a second behind him. It's just a straight line from there across the Mont des Arts as you head a little bit down. And then you turn right and fly through the Brightling Gates. But you never made it there.
No, that's unfortunate. I think he ended up way high in the netting, and that could actually be a problem, because if the organization, we have a big team of runners,
and they'll have to get that back.
They have to get that back.
That's a challenge for someone.
But if they are not able to do that, he won't be able to fly the big heat.
That's very, very true.
So let's take a look at how high he is exactly.
That's not too high at all.
No, this is not
There's
too high.
There's that turn. He just forgot that at some point you do actually run out of room.
Yep.
We've not seen anyone crash there. The whole course is netted, of course, for safety reasons.
Yes.
And nobody has yet managed to reach the furthest end of the Mont des Arts, which he was wildly overshooting that turn. Evan Turner, great in qualifying yesterday, 3rd fastest for Quad Force 1 today, and Andre Krasny is his opposition in the second single heat. They go away from the blocks side by side, and then one goes a lot higher, the orange one of Krasny. And a bit of a slow route through the Ibis gate for both of them. And Evan Turner has the lead into the gallery. Krasny over 1.5 seconds behind him. Turner a little bit twitchy. He seemed to do very, very well on this course last time we flew it. Is he going to have as good a day today? Andre Krasny has hit the pylon at the top of the corkscrew. He's brought it down, and as you can see, the ground of the Mont des Arts, it's a beautiful plaza that people come and relax in the evenings. It is all landscape hedging and bushes and shrubs and that kind of thing. And amongst them now is a drone. There was a few down there when we flew here in 2017. A few amongst the grass when we raced here before this year. Krasny is also picking up a yellow card to add insult to injury. And his drone is now just part of the landscaping of the Mont des Arts.
Yeah, let's take a look at what happened there. He's coming out of the anti-gravity gate here, making a tight corner, actually ending up on the wrong side of the pylon. And he wanted to turn around, but yeah, too little, too late. He clipped it. That's too bad. Andre, keep smiling. He can't hear me. But that's a sad face, yes.
Yeah, it looks like Yeah, as well as missing out on a heat point, and by missing out meaning his opposition get one. I think we'll find out from Lucas Baumann. Yeah, there it is. It is going to be a yellow card as well for him. Just Lucas signalling there that probably, I'm reading that, Martijn, I think, as he went a bit too high.
I think so, yeah. Yeah, like you just said, there's netting all around the area. And once the pilots go above the netting, they will be yellow carded. And ultimately, like in football, 2 yellow cards will end up with a red card, and that means disqualification.
And that's extremely rare.
It is super rare.
I think we may have had 1 this season. Karke Leung, brilliant pilot. You saw him if you watched our races at the Great Wall of China. He was racing for Hellhound, one of 2 wildcard teams that we had. Karke Leung is up against Alex Campbell.
Yeah,
Cheese, as they call him on Quad Force 1.
Alex, number 4 in qualifications today.
That's really good for him. He's the most sort of well-known character on the team because he's the loudest and he lets us know how the team are doing. But he can also deliver, and he's given us amazing finishes, and he has given us a few too many near finishes. We'll come to that when we get to the end of this and see if he can put it into a crash gate. He's got the lead over Karke Leung, who is some way behind. Well, that time reckons he's right with him, but I'm not seeing him there as Campbell exits the Sky Gate and has the corkscrew to himself. There's Leung, a couple of seconds behind him. Flying gingerly, slowly almost really, around that corkscrew. Not like somebody who's got a lot of a gap to catch up on, but he's going to be less than 2 seconds behind Campbell as he goes on to lap number 2. Campbell flies over the trees there and into the gallery again. Leung won't be letting him get too far away, but the gap is pretty much as it was. Get it finished, Leung, and hope that Campbell gets into trouble now. Well, Campbell's out through the Brussels part of the corkscrew. Heads back over the Mont sees an orange drone in the far netting ahead of him. Through the Breitling gate, around that pylon there, then he's going to split S it through the Ibis gate beautifully. The DCL gate won't be an issue for him, and the crash gate is found. And a 3rd point is found. Karke Leung, again, looking like he might not be in there, but he does. It's a finisher point for them, but the finisher points are looking like they're not going to be relevant.
Yeah, he can be happy with himself. He probably is. Alex Campbell, great character. And what he's been particularly focusing on is doing this corkscrew as tight as possible around the pylon. Beautiful cornering here, launching himself out of the Brussels gate.
He is very, very good at corkscrew turns in particular.
He is.
When we've had them on our course, as we did in Simitai and the Great Wall of China, we had a corkscrew there. This one's a 540-degree one. And when they went around the corkscrew there, which was just a 361, he absolutely demolished anyone who's ahead of him. If they flew into that thinking, oh, I've got this, all of a sudden there was a light blue drone out of the other side in front of him.
Yeah,
He gave us amazing races. What he keeps doing is hitting crash gates, not landing in them. He's got into that one, he's got a point for Quad Force 1, and likely going to be followed by a 4th, because here is arguably the best pilot of the DCL this season. His name is Andy Marakillian. He's in light blue. Vince Irie was all over with him, giving him a good old scrap, but that scrap has ended way too soon, and Vince Irie is completely done here. Remember, he is flying a drone that he's not used to, but he was not shy of giving a scrap to Marakillian with it.
No, absolutely. They were fiddling around with the drones all day, trying to properly tune them, program them, actually changing some motors around. It's a machine that Vince Irie is just not familiar flying with. It's always tough. Let's take a look at what happened there, coming out of the Breitling gate with a lot of speed, actually.
Well, like I said, he was going to give a real scrap to Marakillian, and in fact, he's waving his protest flag now. So I think he's had a quick chat with his teammates. There's a very small window in which you can do this. You can't do this just at any time after the race. You've got to do it within a few seconds of that race being over.
Yeah.
So he's only just managed to get that one registered in time, I should think.
I wonder what the problem is, because looking at the feed that we just saw, the video looked fine. It could be a connection issue between the radio, so the transmitter, to control the drone.
He thinks it's not anything on his side, though. Meanwhile, our amazing runners who have had experience of lakes in Munich, salt lakes in Romania last year when we were 150 meters underground in the beautiful salt mine of Salina Terda. Climbering all over things, our runners, to get the drones back. The pilots obviously want them back. They got between 3 and 5 each. That's how many they're allowed to have. But obviously between quarterfinals and semi-finals, if you're in that semi-final, you may well want to be fixing that drone up in case you need it for that semi, or maybe from grand final should you get there. So the pilots like to get those drones back. We don't just leave them scattered all over the world as we tour it and occasionally crash drones into it. Now that's a big sign there. The 19 finisher points against 6 for China Dragons. You can see those points are gained by completing laps in qualifying and in racing. So China Dragons have really, really struggled to put it together today, and the rain is getting worse.
It's just pouring down. It is getting a lot worse.
It's cold too, ladies and gentlemen. It is properly cold right now. It's about 9 or 10 degrees, I think, here in Brussels. And it is outdoor racing conditions. We can still fly in these conditions. It takes a great deal more than that to stop us. We've raced in worse conditions, but as you can see, pilots there. That was Jonathan Templeton blowing on, and Evan Turner on cue. Blowing on hands. Andy Markillian blowing on invisible hands. So we await to know whether he's going to get a possible rerun, but as in our previous quarter-final, even if a rerun is granted, that's going to mean they go into this big final, big heat. There's still quite a lot to do. You're going to need to come out of a lot of points for it. Otherwise, that rerun won't happen because it can't change anything.
Yeah, so our runners are still out on the track, trying to find one last drone, I think. It could be Vince Iris, who just crashed. Regardless, the pilots all seem to be ready. Beautiful goggles. It's just an amazing system. And as a pilot, you know, putting on those goggles, it really is sort of an out-of-body experience. You really feel connected to the machine you're flying. And basically it's just like flying. Yeah, it really feels like you are flying yourself. That's why sometimes you see when people are done flying, hitting the crash gate, putting the goggles up again, they have like this, you know, this sound of relief, like, oh, I'm back in my own body again.
So it looks like Big Heat is going to be ready. And China Dragons would love to grab 4 points out of this. But
yeah,
it's a big team that needs to get into a lot of problems, and I think China Dragons will need a little bit of luck in their favour if they expect to get 4-0 over Quad Force 1, because that is something that you really don't do. And we've talked a little bit about Vince flying here with drones out on his own, but let's remember when we did our first race of the whole 2018 season, when we were back at the Olympic Park in Munich, Quad Force 1 had trouble getting their own drones as they flew in from America. They had trouble getting their own drones through customs in Germany. We never really got to the bottom of what that issue was. It wasn't anything they had done at all, but it meant that Quad Force 1 flew in the first race of our 2018 season with drones that were lent to them.
Yep, and it didn't really work out for them as well.
No. But the second day of our racing there in Munich, they made it to the final. And that again was flying with stuff that isn't, you know, what they really wanted to fly with. So
exactly,
they got used to new stuff very, very quickly. And in fact, if they had raced that first day using their own equipment, they could well be at the top of our season, because they have had such an amazing season.
Look at that. The crash gate is down. Someone punctured it.
Flops out.
Yeah.
Brett Collis for Next Phase Racing put a hole in it yesterday, but it lives again. It always comes back to life. If you get a good chance to see it up close, you realise that thing has been beaten a few times, but there are holes that have been patched up, and it still lives. Still lives with us, and in fact, the rain may have affected a little bit of it, but it comes back to life. As I was saying about Quad Force 1, that first race of the season, they came in 8th. They were wiped out by our reigning world champions in the quarterfinals. 5-0, Next Phase Racing demolished them. And it was like, oh, okay, Quad Force 1, this new confident, they were super confident.
Yes.
Oh, look at these confident, brash, you might even say, Americans thinking that they're going to be good here. The world champions showed them, hey, welcome to the DCL. The next day, Quad Force 1 came back and made it to the grand final. That's where they lost Next Phase Racing again, but they were in that grand final, and they showed us, all right, they do know what they're doing. And they have come first or second in 5 of the 7 Drone Prix we've had this year. They are so consistent, and that is why they are right in the mix as we head towards the last stages of our World Championship. We go over the big heat, over the Mont with Quad Force 1 against the China Dragons. And it's blue and blue up front, and then quite a lot of orange activity through the Brightling Gate near with them. It's Turner and Marakillian, the 2 brilliant pilots of the 4 brilliant pilots that Quad Force 1 are fielding. Marakillian a little way behind Turner, and he may well try and catch him, because I don't think Marakillian likes coming in second, even when he doesn't need a pass his teammate who's in first. Leung and Irie having real miserable time. We're grateful to him standing in at such short notice, but it's not going to be his most excited and most memorable time flying in the DCL. He gave us some fun races last year. Turner's up front and out of the gallery at speed. Campbell is amongst them now with Templeton. Leung, Karke Leung, standing in for China Dragons. He wants to mix things up, but he's got a lot to lose. He's nearly 7 seconds behind Evan Turner, who is leading China Dragons and taking Quad Force 1 to a semi-final. This looks pretty much certain. There it is. It's all over. And there weren't enough China Dragons in the air by this stage to have turned it around, even if they could all have finished at the front. Irie Kresny and you. Brilliant to see them flying here in the orange for China Dragons, but Quad Force 1 go to a semi-final, and it's looking very familiar for them.
This is a very interesting approach.
This is not familiar, is it? This is Marakillian.
Yeah.
The slowest we've ever seen him.
Definitely, yeah. He's just making it to the finish to get that point. As you can see, actually, his quad is bouncing a little bit, his drone. And that means he probably hit something in the beginning of the race, and that's why
you can see him talking to his dad there. That's Sergei Marakillian, kind of boss of Quad Force 1, looking after the team, and that big heat makes it 6-0 to Quad Force 1's China Dragons lead us at this stage.
That's
again.
a big win.
They needed that. Quad Force 1 absolutely had to be into the semi-finals, because there are so few points between them and the other 2 teams who are fighting it out for being our season leader, that at this stage you don't gain a lot of points over your opposition for being, in a grand final with them. It's 250 for winning it, 220 for coming second, but every point is going to matter. You just don't want to concede anything when it is so close as it is here at the DCL.
Yeah, this is where we're going to lead into the crash of Vince Irie, ending up on the low side and hitting a side of one of those fountains. I hope his drone didn't roll in. That's where Marakillian got in all sorts of problems. Exactly. That was the crash he had, and that's why his drone started off bouncing through the air, ending up way high. But made its way to the finish. So our quarterfinals have led us to this. Next Blades wiped out Spain drone team. I was going to say apologies to them. So it must feel hard as they've not managed to win a single heat in the Drone Champions League. Rotorama sends Swiss Black Kites packing out of an exciting heat between them. DMN Raiden Racing and Air covers Germany's chances of making a semi-final today. And Quad Force 1 knock out China Dragons, which means we'll have Next Blades Racing against Rotorama in our first semi-final very soon. And then Quad Force 1 against DMN Raiden Racing. Yes, we've had those matchups before. Yes, they've always delivered, so don't go anywhere because they're coming. So we have 2 very exciting single heats, semi-finals full of them. Big heats, mix it all up. We do it all again in the semis. We'll do it all again in our grand final. Our 4 best teams of the season are going to be competing in them. But we've been around the world this season. I mentioned an Olympic Park, a bull ring, and a Great Wall. We've really had amazing performances from those 4 teams in our semi-finals, but all the other ones who've been here at the DCL as well. Absolutely. And it's a real privilege to go to the places we've been. Oh, man. I'm having fun. We are, indeed, and bringing you all the races live from our Around the World tour with the best drone racing teams in the world. Let's show you what it's like as we visited Munich, Madrid, and Scimitar.
We're in such an amazing location right now.
Our first big heat of today. Nice and smoothly done. Brandes is out.
That's gotta hurt. It's so good all day that this happens when it really matters.
Into that DCL gate. Big heat time. Absolutely no problem for him. And this is it. Race of the season will be here in Madrid. The race is underway. He bites the dust. Let's go! China Dragon's up, 8 drones in the air. It's what you get with the DCL. This is a fast one. He's out of this. It's all on Corey Jimenez who is back in the fight. On stage. Whoever wins this is taking their team to the finals. Jake hits the pylon. Freddy's coming in fast. Shah needs to get that win. The final of this one begins. We are in the beautiful town of Simmertide. It's an incredible place. Really good big heat now, but it's blew up. It's Galagos has crashed. Hard rock 180 here. Looks like maybe a tiny mid-air, but I think that's definitely a crash zone. All right, here we go. They leave in the front, all 4 of them. Still trying to get his drone off the floor. Timothy Trowbridge for next place has no idea where the crash gate is.
Look at that. Yeah, that's an amazing finish.
Ah, what fun we've had touring the world, bringing races to you live from all of those locations. We are the world's best professional team drone racing series. We are always live. And 2018 has been very, very exciting so far. This is our 8th Drone Prix after we had another race earlier on in Brussels. 2 more races await us as well. They are in Zurich in a few weeks' time. We're going to Rapperswil, just outside Zurich, really. Some of our teams here are going to enjoy being a little bit like home, like the Swiss Black Kites were saying earlier. Michael Isler was saying, looking forward to having races there, and that is where we will crown our world champion for 2018. Make sure you keep up with us. We are dcl.aero. That's where you'll find the website with stories about the pilots and all the news of the DCL. You can also find us on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube at Drone Champions League, and we are on Twitter at Drone Champions L. And I'm Matt Andrews TV on all of those things if you want to see some more behind the scenes of the DCL as we go around the world and make these incredible locations into real tracks.
Yep.
Martijn, you want to plug your team again?
My team, Team SQG. Yep, the Dutch, the best team in the Netherlands.
Is that it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. We're always here. Yeah, and if you don't follow us on social, you can always drop by, you know, like in this beautiful place in Brussels, like my father did actually today.
Yes,
he was here.
Yeah. It's a great family show, the DCL. Loads of entertainment going on site as well. Chance to fly some drones. We have a test area here where you can actually, like, if you've never actually had a drone, you can have a go at that. But our pilots are coming to show you what the professionals can do. The Drone Champions League stop here in Brussels has reached its semi-final stage, and you've seen this team on stages everywhere we go. They're Next Blades Racing. Back onto our stage, it's the reigning champions, it's Next Blades Racing.
Yeah, they're absolutely killing this track. What pilots like to say now is send it.
Yes.
That's a big meme.
Send it. We know.
And these guys are absolutely sending it.
What we've got here is a really good scrap. It's the previous grand final here in Brussels. It's teams who are right at the top of our leaderboards. Both of them need to get one over on the other. I'm talking about their opposition of Rotorama. This is going to be tasty. Rotorama, come onto our stage. And it's a bit more businesslike, isn't it? It's a bit more pressure's on now. The loser of this, well, we could confuse the matter by talking points. I'll tell you this, it's 250 for the winners, it's 220 for the runners-up of the grand final, and then it's 200 and 150 for third and fourth place respectively. And third and fourth are obviously the teams who lose the semi-finals, and the one who comes third is the one who had the most finisher points by that stage. It is possible, we won't dig into all of the finisher points and get too bogged down in data right now. It is possible that one of these teams will be fourth today, and the other team could be first today. There is 100 points possibly going to happen between these two teams, but certain things need to work out for that to happen. We'll take it one stage at a time, and we'll begin with the first single heat of semi-final one, which is David Svoboda against Timothy Trowbridge. What we're going to be doing now, basically, so this semi-final and the next one is giving you the names of amazing drone racing pilots, because these semi-finals are stacked with them.
Absolutely.
And all of these single heats are going to be really good matches. Remember, there are 4 pilots on each team, and we take their qualifying times, and that's the order they race in. So, from the front of our starting blocks, the 2 podiums that were lit up there, they are the slowest pilots in qualifying for each team. So it's Timothy Trowbridge against David Svoboda. And then we'll go through, ending in our 4th single heat with the fastest qualifying pilot for each team. Lucas Baumann tells us it's 10 seconds before semi-final 1 gets away. It's blue for Next Blades Racing on the left of your screen. The red right-hand side is the Czech Republic. It's Rotorama. It's David Svoboda. And Trowbridge with a much better start. Very apparent there, and the numbers confirmed it. And Svoboda decides, well, he doesn't like that, and he'll pass him before we even get to the first 10. They are air sharing, though, out of the DCL gate. So close to get through that. And pretty near to edges goes David Svoboda. He's in the lead through the gallery. Trowbridge passes him, though. That was it. You saw the big blue lights of it as Trowbridge passed him, and Svoboda exits stage left, ground down. Maybe a mid-air there. He came down extremely quickly. It didn't look like he intentionally landed that. It looked like his drone just fell out of the ground. Fell out of the ground? Fell out of the sky. You know what I meant. Trowbridge gets a point for Next Blaze Racing. David Svoboda doesn't give too much away, David Svoboda. He never does.
No, he didn't have the best qualification run today. Let's take a look at what happened. This is the exit of the gallery, and there's a small mid-air crash here. Yeah,
so they come under him there, and they're both still flying, but as he comes out of the skybox... Yeah, see, I don't think there's a mid-air in the skybox.
No, I thought it was.
I thought there was maybe
really,
one there, but they both continued for certain.
Yeah,
I really don't know what happened to Svoboda as he exited that skybox.
No, me neither. I think he just made a mistake there. You know, when these pilots are racing head-to-head and they're so close together, there's so much adrenaline that comes into play.
Countdown.
And it's hard to keep your cool. It really is. That's where the mistakes are made. So next up, Gary Kent, Jan Votava.
Yeah, like I said, we're just going to be naming pilots who are world famous now throughout these two semi-finals and the grand final that follows. Votava and Kent share the Ibis gates, and Votava comes out slightly quicker. Kent came out and had that turn. Yeah, he was in the lead on the way into the gallery, but he didn't have the speed to keep going. Votava passed him, but Votava's speed has crossed him. And goggles are already off. Gary Kent's got this one. But that is a protest flag. We're getting quite a lot of those today. Now that's in the gallery. So that's interesting, because we've had a few video issues on the furthest point of the gallery, but it wouldn't feel like rain or anything would be a factor in there, of course.
No.
It is open a bit to the elements, but we're under review.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, there's a protest flag raised, and it seemed like he lost connection.
His teammates, Jakob Thoman, looking pretty cheerful. He always does, but he's really enjoying himself this season. So we'll get that reviewed between Kent and Votava. And you are getting a little bit familiar with our protest system now. We've not had a great deal of them this year, and in fact the last time we raced on the Monday Art here in Brussels, I don't think we had any issues whatsoever, any reruns, any protests.
Let's take a look at what happened there. This is Jan Votava in the gallery. Basically, they're side by side. What is that?
That is, I believe, the classic arcade game Outrun.
And this is where we have Gary Kent's view.
What on earth?
We do see him.
I swear he was playing Outrun.
What is this?
How is that possible? I've never seen anything like it. That is absolutely unbelievable. I swear, gaming fans around the world joining me, and we are live on TV channels around the world and on a lot of social media. I know many people know me from the gaming community as well. Am I right? Is that the classic Outrun? Because if it's not Outrun, it's like the sequel to it, whose name escapes me. Nevertheless, it's the wrong kind of racing. I mean, it was good, but it's the wrong kind of racing. How is that even possible?
If you are correct, Matt, you do know your classics. Yeah, I am absolutely flabbergasted.
What
there you go. This?
Okay, so that looks an awful lot like the car from Route Ram. He's doing 290 kilometers an hour. I can't see what stage Jan Votava had managed to make it to. I'm very impressed that he managed to make it to any stage whilst flying a drone at the same time. That is technologically impossible to have found its way into his goggles. Well, I'd love to hear what Chief Judge Lucas Baumann says after he's consulted the DCL rulebook about our race.
From Team Rotorama for video issues, no rerun.
No rerun granted.
So we like a bit of Outrun. So it's drone related. or his own setup related. It's not trackside.
No.
That's astonishing.
I have to say, it did seem like he crashed into the concrete there in the gallery.
Yeah, it did.
And at that point, miraculously, a video game from the 80s popped up. maybe that's FPV heaven. I don't know.
Well, maybe it's kind of where we all started.
It's where when the drone explodes, he enters the world.
We've seen the other side. We've seen the other side. It's gaming on the other side. Well, let's keep flying. We're airborne with Brett Collis and Jakob Toman. Yep, names, yep, superstars. We'll keep them coming. And for now, they are flying drones, not racing cars, and it is Toman over Collis and up to the gallery where Outrun appears to be playing. I really do want to get confirmation if I'm right about that. Toman, however, is ahead. Collis sees him some way ahead now out of the skybox 4. Collis has got too near it, but the corkscrew, no problem for either. He's extremely experienced pilots. They were both in the running for Pilot of the Year 2017. I've mentioned many times how Brett Collis was our Pilot of the Year last season, and by getting the most heat points for his team. Jakob Toman, I think, was second, or maybe just pipped at the end to second and was third for the season. There was 1 heat point in it going into the final day of racing last year. And both of these teams went into that final day of racing in 2017 looking to be the world champion. It was all to the death. Right exciting, right at the end, and as this race was indeed, so close between them, but Brett Collis brought it home, and Toman does, after recovering his drone from a really hard bounce off the side of the crash gate. We tell you have to hit the crash gate. What we mean is hit it inside. You can't bounce it off the wall. That doesn't count.
Super impressive racing by Brett Collis, who actually got into some trouble in the beginning of the race. Let's see if we can find a replay of that. Well, our audience is still having a great time here in the rain. Yeah, let's take a look at the beginning here. This was the first split S gate, and Brett Collis ended up way low and clipping the bottom of that gate, but he was able to catch him. Super close finish. Whoa, and Toman hitting the side of that crash gate. So yeah, we're absolutely sure that Brett Collis made it. Amazing that he was still able to catch him. It's not the least pilot. Jakob Toman was the fastest pilot and also the most valuable pilot out of Rotorama in last season.
Well, we've been here before looking at a scoreboard which says 3-0 to Next Blades, but it's not often got the nil next to Rotorama on the other side of it. So this
10 seconds countdown.
This is hot stuff now.
This is a single heat I'm really looking forward to. Luke Bannister and Lucas Lendvorsky, who did amazing last time we were here in Brussels.
So Bannister against Lendvorsky. And Lendvorsky with the first lead of this 4th single heat. The Ibis gate is his, as the Breitling gate already was, and Bannister sees him keeping some distance between the two. On board with Bannister through the gallery. Where is Lendvorsky? Well, he's a lot closer than he was. And Bannister's got this bit nailed. We've seen him do it earlier on in the quarterfinals and throughout qualifying. He is amazing at exiting that sky gate and getting into the corkscrew. That distance between them is nothing to him compared to everybody else. But Lendvorsky is with him. It's 1/4 of a second between the two pilots. Out of the gallery comes Bannister. Lendvorsky's got a little bit more to do, as that straight line speed of Bannister is amazing, and that route into the corkscrew is brilliant. But Lendvorsky on a really tight inside line there. He's going to be with him as they hit a Breitling gate. The gap looks like it's bigger, but we've seen the speed that Lendvorsky can do in the turns. This final turn is going to do it. Lendvorsky hits the crash gates. Bannister finished it. Lendvorsky hit it. Lendvorsky comes in some way afterwards. He gave it everything he had to try and close it. Closed the gap at certain parts of the course, but Bannister owned it at others. That was a really exciting heat. What Next Blades Racing are looking at here is their biggest rival for the season are going down.
Amazing racing by Luke Bannister. As I mentioned before, the corkscrew that we're about to see, that's where you can really make or break the race. And this is where Bannister absolutely is glued to the inside of that cornering. And that's actually where he overtook Lenvorsky, beautiful cornering here.
He is phenomenal on tight turning parts of courses. So the corkscrews are really swinging here, and that's Lenvorsky trying to pip him to the post. And I'm impressed with how many of the drones we are smashing into things and managing to recover today. We got some really resilient pilots and drones. Remember, they build these things and work on them and test them and engineer them themselves. They are perimeters that they have to fit in, such as all the drones have to be at least 780 grams and less than a kilo. There's a minimum size. There's certain video, technology that needs to be on board to be compatible with our trackside system, which is working so well in these rainy conditions. But other than that, people can experiment with different props, 5 inches, 6 inches. Luke was talking about flying 7-inch props.
Was he?
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
really?
in the pits yesterday when I chatted with him.
Well, maybe next season. I don't see him doing it now.
No, but he wanted to. I think he wanted to give it a go.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's lots of engineering, and then in between rounds, if you're in the semi-finals, once you've got your drones back from the quarterfinal, these guys are working on them. Some of them have more support than others. Next blades have a lot of support. You can see at the bottom of our picture, runners are looking around for technology in the shape of drones, in the shape of bushes.
Yes.
Some of these teams have got quite a lot of crew with them. Next blades in particular, for example, there's a lot of them here. With Rotorama, there's 1 or 2 extra guys. Jan Mittner, owner of the team, he's here.
Yeah.
So if you need to get a bit of fixing done, some of these teams are a bit more hands-on than others when it's race day. Yes. But outside of race day, Martijn, these guys all know how to solder and put things together, and have been doing it for years and years.
Definitely.
And love it as well.
Absolutely, yeah. These drones are all built by the pilots themselves. They all have their own preferences into which motors they use, what kind of propeller they like. Also, they want to keep the weight of their drone under control. We have a minimum weight here. And they just want to barely make it. Actually, some of the drones have to add extra weight to it, not to be too light.
Yeah, we had interesting times out in, I'm going to think it was Madrid, where some of the pilots were flying with 2 batteries. Because they decided to light up the LEDs, right, which they have to have. Yeah. They put a second battery on board purely for the LEDs because they had weight to spare. So why not?
Yeah, exactly.
They were essentially like pimping out their drone a bit. It's like, I'm just going to add more. I'm just gonna brighten it up a bit.
Yeah, it's not just that. Also, they want to have the battery voltage from the normal battery. They want to have that fully available for powering the motors. And the LEDs also they consume power as well. So having an small extra battery just for LEDs will ultimately allow the main battery to be there completely for the flying, for the power of the motors. It's still raining here in Brussels.
Yeah.
As you can see there.
It's cold.
Yeah, as you can see there, most of the pilots, they have prepared their drone a little bit for the rain. So there's some plastic foil around it, just to make sure that the heart of the drone, the flight controllers, the video transmitting system isn't exposed to water. Other than that, the motors, they can handle it perfectly. Actually, you would be able, technically, I wouldn't see a reason why you would do it, but technically you would be able to run that underwater.
Ooh, oh yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it's what they call brushless motors.
Yep.
So that means there's not real contact. It's all done with electromagnetic forces. So that's why, they work on the water.
Well, let's do that. Sounds exciting.
Meanwhile, it seems like it's 4-0 now for Next Blades Racing.
To be honest, the way the rain is coming down, underwater racing may not be too far off in the distant future. We've had car racing. Let's get some underwater racing as well. All right, so what are we doing here? Well, ladies and gentlemen, it works out like this. Next Blades Racing are 4-0 up. Rotorama need to come in first, second, third, and fourth. That'll get them 4 heat points. That'll tie it up. That'll get them 4 finisher points. And then we'll see how many Next Blades manage to collect. But it is all the wrong way round right now because it is all blue in first, second, third, and fourth. Rotorama need all of those blue drones behind all of their red ones. So Bannister and Collis are not going to make this easy for them, and exactly as you'd expect. Bannister out in the lead here around the corkscrew so beautifully and coming already on to the start of his second lap via the Breitling gate in a time of 27.78. That's phenomenal. Remember, it's not just a lap time, you've just got to do the first part into it. Bannister, Collis and Votava joining them, and then dropping some way behind. Lenvorsky around somewhere in the upper half of things, but needing a lot of work from Rotorama teammates, but here they come. So Boda's moved up past Trowbridge. Votava and Toman will look to take him, but they've got 3 blue ones and almost no time to pass. And with Bannister, Collis and Kent being those 3 pilots, Rotorama are going to say goodbye to Brussels from the semi-final stage. Bannister's done it for them. Collis secures it. Kent ties a bow on it. Lemversky makes an appearance. Trowbridge, only three next blades. But an 8-0 sweep of Rotorama would have been just unheard of for a team of that caliber. Next Blades Racing, they've beaten them now 3 out of 4 times this season. They go to the grand finals. Rotorama wait to see whether they're going to be 3rd or 4th today. That will affect whether they get 200 points or 150. And at this stage of the season, as we told you already, they need every one of them.
Yeah, again, very interesting strategic decisions made by Rotorama team. So what they've done is actually starting late. And that could have 2 reasons why they did that. The first reason is they are launching slow and letting next blades fly first because they knew they couldn't overturn the 4-0 deficit. So they knew we cannot win this one. And this is where we can have a look at the start. As soon as the light turns green and the pilots are allowed to start, we see all of Next Blades' drones take off beautifully there. And Rotorama doing it slow. So there are 2 reasons, like I said, they would do this. The first reason is they want to secure the finisher points, or the second reason is they were hoping for a crash and mid-air collisions of the Next Blades team. Let's have a word with them. Let's have a word with Lemversky.
So live on our stage here in Brussels, I have Lucas Lemversky from Rotorama. Lucas, we lose you at the semi-final stage. Firstly, how are you feeling right now, knowing that the opposition who beat you there are a team you are scrapping with for the season championship?
Well, that happens. We will try to fix that in Switzerland, and we'll see.
Interesting tactics going on in that big heat there. You guys had to get all 4 of the red drones at the front, 1st, 2nd, 3rd and 4th. And we know in big heats, particularly your tactics on Rotorama, as we've talked about at previous races, you don't necessarily try and win big heats, you just try and disrupt the opposition by getting all the points they need. This time, unusually for you, you needed all of them. So did Rotorama go for it, or were you just trying to pick up finisher points?
No, we just let them win because it seemed unlikely we get 4-0 in big heat. And so we just get finisher points. I believe we got 3 out of that, so it was what we wanted.
Finisher points are what determines of the 2 teams who drop out of the semi-finals who's 3rd and who's 4th. 200 for 3rd, 150 for 4th. So you very much got an eye as a team on needing to get all of the points. And in that one you thought, we can't win it, but we're going to try and get the 3rd place.
I didn't understand, sir.
You wanted to get the 3rd place, and so that's what you went into that to secure?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so we'll find out who's going to come in 4th, or maybe it'll be you guys. It depends on the finish points you get over the team who leaves in the semi-finals. Between now and our final race of the season in Rapperswil, what's going to happen with Rotorama?
Sorry?
What are you guys going to do to be ready for our final races of the year?
Well, we will talk about what happened and try to fix our issues. We had tonight with the rain, we had a really bad video. First of all, there was water on our lenses, so we need to do something about that. The Next Blade didn't seem to have that problem. And Jan had some video issues, so we'll talk about it and we'll see.
We're going to be going into the final races of our season with it being mixed up between you and Next Blades and probably Quad Force 1, and that's how we ended last season as well. You and Next Blades scrapping it out for the World Championship. Commiserations to Rotorama, they're out in the semis.
Yeah, like I said, interesting strategic decisions made by Rotorama there. They wanted to get the finisher points because finisher points is what determines the 3rd and 4th place. Very interesting. Lemversky a little bit disappointed there. There are leaders of this season. And obviously every point for them counts. They don't want to give away their leading position. So let's see if it's enough.
That was interesting chatting to Lucas Lemversky live on our stage then. He's It's interesting seeing a team and being like, yeah, we knew we couldn't beat them.
Yeah, exactly.
I've not actually come across that in the DCL. These teams with so much respect for each other, never have we had a chance where they've gone, you know what, we can't beat them.
Yeah.
So that's one finalist found in the shape of Next Blaze Racing. Rotorama will now look to see whether they're going to concede more points to their other main challenger for this season, because they're about to walk onto this stage. It's Quad Force 1 coming on to our stage for their semi-final in the shape of Jonathan Templeton, Evan Turner, Alex Campbell and Andy Marakilian. And we've been here before. We've had semi-finals featuring them in so many races. Everything except the first Drone Prix of the year has had a semi-final with Quad Force 1 in it, but they've also had those semi-finals in a couple of instances against DMM Raiden Racing. DMM Raiden Racing. That is Takumi Suzuki, Kazuma Asami, Junichi Goto, and Axel Mario Christopher Lenkong. Watched on by so many brilliant people who are braving the rain and the cold here. You heard that man, Axel Mario Christopher Lenkong. I call him that man, he's 14. He's the best pilot in Indonesia. And he was saying, I'm not used to flying in conditions like this. He's actually worn away his gloves. He's trying to keep his hands warm. Because apparently Indonesia is somewhat warmer than Brussels. Who knew?
It is, yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, it's tough, isn't it? Other side of the world, touring the world, being a professional drone racing pilot, competing in the best drone racing series in the world for the World Championship, and scoring so many points in his season. And just taking it all in his stride. He's had his dad joining on a few of our Drone Prix as well, and
also a pilot, by the way. Yeah, he's quite legit. Yeah.
Jonathan Templeton will take on Axel Mario Christopher Lenkong in our first single heat of semi-final 2. JT's made a good appearance with us. He joined us for the first time at our last Drone Prix location, which was Scimitar, the Great Wall of China, and gave us one of the most memorable races of the season for good reasons and bad ones. You saw a little highlight of it earlier on. And he and Timothy Trowbridge just decided that between them, they couldn't really manage to finish a race.
Yeah, it's interesting that they have, because Axel Lenkong is actually the fastest pilot from DMM Raiden Racing.
Yep.
But
normally,
yeah, exactly. But in qualifications today, he wasn't doing that well.
No.
So that's why we see him here in this first heat.
So he's slowest in his team for qualifying, and he's one of the slowest out of everybody.
Yeah, but normally we would have seen him in the last one of the single heats, so the fourth single heat. So it's going to be interesting, because on paper I would say Axel Lenkong is faster than Jonathan Templeton. So we'll see what happens here.
All right, JT against Axel.
Some movement here on stage. Could be wind, could be rain. The pilots seem to be ready.
We've seen pictures like this from DMM Raiden Racing. Whatever it is they're flying with, it's not enjoying these conditions as much as some of the other teams are.
No.
He's wrapped up. So, this is going to be exciting stuff. And as I mentioned, Quad Force 1 and Raiden Racing, they've met a couple of times in semi-finals. 2 races earlier this year, and they've both gone the way of Quad Force 1. Who always win 3 of the 4 single heats and then pick up more points in the big heats. So, we'll see what Quad Force 1 can do here. And they are 90 points behind Rotorama, and Rotorama have just gone out of their semi-finals. So Quad Force 1 need a wipeout raid in here because their main opposition are already in the grand final. One of the main oppositions already in the grand final, and the other one has already been knocked out. Let's see what we got between Lenkong and Templeton. And it's a lead for Lenkong as he heads up towards the gallery. And JT, where are you in this? JT 3 seconds behind. That's an astonishing gap already. That's obviously problems for Templeton as well as brilliant flying from Lenkong, and Templeton's being flagged up for potentially a wrong flight. That's UR for under review, WF for wrong flight, which means he's possibly missed a turn. If he catches Lenkong and manages to pass him, then that will get investigated to see whether or not the race does actually count. But it looks like Lenkong will make that academic as he flies towards Skygate and comes out somewhat further in the lead over Templeton now through the Brussels gates. And Lenkong's drone heads back over the Mont through Breitling. The time of 51.59. The Ibis gate is where he split S and comes underneath, and it's still over 3 seconds, and he is not shy of ending a race at speed, and Templeton will come in and get the finisher point there too. Gained a little bit of time on him at the end, but I think it's because Lenkong knew he had that and was just making sure he finished it. What happened to JT?
Yeah, he actually hit the Breitling gate here on the very first corner. Hit the top of it, tilting his quad way back. And he lost a few seconds there. And he was not able to catch Axel Lenkong afterwards. So
first one is Lenkong's, and he'll be really pleased with that because, as I said, he's such a professional. And remember, he is only 14, but you heard that interview he did with me earlier. He's better than people I've interviewed all over the world, right? He is so just calm and professional and relaxed at what he's doing. But he did have this terrible time in qualifying. So maybe the professional he is made him just go, oh, never mind, I can forget about that.
Yeah.
But a win like that, I think, is gonna definitely have done him some good.
Yeah, absolutely.
They need to put Quad Force 1 to the sword, though, but unfortunately, as you can see, Junichi Goto is gifting Quad Force 1 a point here. As Evan Turner is off for the starting blocks and decides, shall I? No, actually, no, I'm just going to put it in there. He had a little look at the middle of the Mont and turned around. Junichi Goto, no video picture for him, couldn't fly it. After Lenkong grabbed that first point, that's costly. Because Quad Force 1 are a team you need to scrap every point from. And I think that's twice today, isn't it, for Junichi? Didn't that happen to him in the single heat earlier on? I may be mistaken. No, it did. Yeah, in the quarterfinal earlier on, he couldn't fly that either. But he was in the big heat.
Some technical problems,
yeah. And
that's
at this
from
level
the
of tournament,
perspective.
you can't have that.
No.
I know it's easy to say, obviously, but these are professional teams.
Absolutely, yeah.
You can't just not feature in a race.
No. It's very, very unfortunate. But also, yeah, these drones, they're built by the pilots themselves. So also there, it's also part of the sport. You have to make sure your equipment works. Double check it, triple check it. The conditions don't help, that's for sure. Next up is Alex Campbell against Kazuma Asami. Alex Campbell was the 4th in qualification today with 42 seconds. Kazuma Asami was 22nd in qualifications. There's a big time difference between the two of those. 8 seconds.
So on our starting blocks. Oh, look at it light up the night. Ooh, that one's about as bright as Alex Campbell is loud. He won't mind me saying that. You probably can't hear me, he's probably being loud. Such character, Chief. Quad Force 1, good to see him looking so happy. This is, you know exactly how he's feeling guy right there. So, they're lighting up all blue for Quad Force 1, closest to us here, and it looks like Kazuma Asami's podium, isn't it? Anyway, the slowest drones, the slowest pilots for each team, the ones who go in single heat 1, they start at the front of the starting blocks, and then the fastest ones, the ones who are in single heat 4, they're at the back where the V meets, and when we do the big heat, the fastest pilots for each team are at the back. That's why it's arranged the way it is. Goggles down for Alex Campbell. Kazuma Asami's had his on for a while. Chief's got him back up again. So he's got his up now. And there's no video from the starting blocks.
No, it seems like there's some video problems here. I do see the drone powered on, but I also see that there's no video feed coming in. It's Kazuma Asami, no video, but also Alex Campbell doesn't have a picture.
Okay, his is coming together now. That's what Alex has got at the moment. Not quite as colourful. So this will get arranged. So I hope you're enjoying it. It is live, our racing here in Brussels with the Drone Champions League, the world's best professional drone racing team series. Always live from everywhere we go. It's semi-finals 2, and you're looking at Quad Force 1 against DMM Raiden Racing. DMM Raiden Racing, 4th in our season on 920 points now. Pretty much too much for them to do to catch the top 3 teams. Quad Force 1 are currently the team in 3rd on 1,330. 20 points ahead of them and X-Blades Racing, who are in the grand final. 90 points ahead of Quad Force 1 is Rotorama, who are not in the grand final and possibly going to lose their place as top of our season. This is our 8th drone prix of the 10 we're going to do. It is possible. It is.
Excitement.
It's not much in it. It is possible.
I think we see our chief judge, Lucas Bouwman, in the back here saying Alex Campbell cannot fly. He still doesn't have a video feed coming in.
Yeah, whereas Kazuma Asami,
and that's just terrible,
looking good to go.
I've been in this position as well as a pilot, and you're just so focused on the race. You're just so focused on what am I going to do? How am I going to take this on? Yeah, Campbell's not happy. You know,
that smile is gone, hasn't it?
Yeah, as I was saying, you know, you're just focused on the race, and then you sit there, you warm up your hands, you have your controller in your hand, you put your goggles down, and then you find out it doesn't work.
10 seconds countdown.
It's absolutely terrible.
The race has got to happen now. It's time for the heat. So as you can see, Kazuma Asami's got picture. Alex Campbell doesn't. Asami's goggles are on, and Alex Campbell's frown is on. The smile on the big guy's face. Isn't there any more Brian Asami? He nearly parks it on the starting block. There's the crash gate. Go put it in there quick. Asami nearly didn't make that. So it's now 2-1 for Raiden. Now, there's Alex Campbell.
Yeah,
that's exactly what
happy with that.
About. That is so frustrating, and he's a man who knows it and shows it.
Yeah.
Raiden Racer are 2-1 up here. So I gave you the scores just now of how the teams are. We'll do that again as we get to the grand final. But as a very happy Andy Marikilian laughs before his single heat, let's point out what's actually at stake here. X-Blades Racing, Quad Force 1, and Rotorama are the 3 teams who are likely going to be scrapping it at the end for our World Championship. Raiden Racing are in 4th, but they need so much good stuff here. Beating one of those teams out here is amazing for DMM Raiden Racing. If Quad Force 1 go out here and Rotorama have gone out, they are gifting a heck of an advantage to next place in the final. Marikilian against Suzuki, though, are going to give us a really good race if that starting time is right from Marikilian, then there's no way you should get that far ahead. But it's all legal, otherwise the blocks will be flashing. If you jump the start, then the blocks flash. Marikilian goes into the gallery ahead of Suzuki. Suzuki comes in as Marikilian comes out. Lots of rain interference on that picture for Suzuki, but we've seen what he can fly with before and how bad his picture can be, and yet still what he can do with it. Marikilian comes around and finish lap number 1, goes through the brightening gate in the time 20. No, that's not right. We're getting timing issues. Marikilian through the iris gate. Suzuki is definitely behind him. That's the most important thing. It's Marikilian in the lead and Suzuki with some catching up to do. Out of the gallery comes Marikilian, and watch him head towards the sky gates and take it into that corkscrew. He's high and then carries a lot of speed as he exits it through Brussels. The Suzuki came out of that gallery and headed towards it fast and overshot it a little bit. So the speed he had wasted as he gave away a bit too much time. Marikilian will come around and make it all square. 2-all after the single heats. Suzuki's going to pick up the finisher point that he needs, because remember, the 2 teams who go out in the semi-finals, that's Rotorama and one of these. Finisher points are how we decide who's 3rd and who's 4th, who gets 200 and who gets 150. That's why Rotorama, when we did that interview with Lucas Limberska, that's why they said, we knew we couldn't beat X-Blades, which is quite a surprising thing for them to say, So we wanted to get as many pilots to the end as we can because they get finisher points for doing so. And really, we might be about to see that tactic pay off in spades because...
Yeah, let's take a look at some of the onboard footage here from Takumi Suzuki. As you can see, there's a lot of drops on his lens. That's what makes these circumstances challenging for the pilots. They just don't have a clear view on the track anymore. Someone needs to find out windscreen wipers for drones.
You can see how wet it is.
Yeah, we have some sensors on the launch pads. They communicate with LEDs. They also communicate with timing system. That's how we can see if someone made a jump start, so an early start. But also we can see the split-second reaction time from all of our pilots.
So it's 2-all. Going into our big heat. So a simple winner takes all here. The first person to reach and fly inside the DACL's Red Bull crash gate is going to take their team to the grand final. If it's Raiden Racing, the next Blades are going to be super happy that they're going to have picked up loads of points over their two closest opposition here. And Raiden Racing have a chance to really actually make a difference to their 4th place in this season and really start to maybe make an appearance on a podium when we're crowning a world champion.
Okay, so now it seems like Alex Campbell has the same problems here with his drone. And you know what's interesting here is when I look at that feed that we just see, on the bottom right side, we see a voltage readout.
You're right.
And what that means is that there is a connection from the drone to the FPV system, to the receiving end, but the camera simply is not working. And to be honest, it's almost like getting struck by lightning twice, because those cameras can last, also can take quite a beating. And to have the same problem on 2 drones, man, he's making calls. He's calling his camera technician. No, I don't know. I don't know what he's doing, actually.
He's looking furious.
Yeah, maybe he's
live on our stage right
trying
now.
to have someone get his backup quad ready. If he can make that happen, that would be magic.
His picture is starting to spring into life, so whoever he spoke to is contacting the FPV gods. He's running out of time, though.
Yeah. Yeah, there's something happening here, huh? We get a different picture now. It's not gray anymore.
So we have drones ready on our starting blocks, with the exception of Alex Campbell, whose picture is coming and going, and he can't get it together, so it's not going to take part in the race. But it's not a race where you need lots and lots of points, it's where you just need one, and that one needs to be your one at the front. It can't be Alex Campbell, because his picture is trying to spring into life, but it's not going to take off. And instead, 7 drones leave the blocks, and a few of them hit that Breitling gate in the trees after it hard. 3 of them, Turner, Lenkong, Asami, all wiped out on the first turn. Marakilian is up front. Suzuki's got it all to do for Raiden Racing. Marakilian is out. Massive problems for him there. Very few pilots still available in this, maybe showing that Alex Campbell actually really needed to be in this fight after all. We can see that there's blue and yellow, that both teams are still featuring in it as we go through the Breitling gate with the time of Templeton. That's the pilot who's still available in here. Campbell, remember, he didn't even feature in this race. Suzuki 3.4 behind him. Apparently Lenkong is in the air, but the gap is huge there. If Templeton gets in the trouble though, and one of Suzuki and Lenkong gets it home, then Raiden Racing will wipe Quad Force 1 out here. And that is damaging for their season. But Templeton has got a decent lead here. The corkscrew is no problem for him. He's going to come back, fly through the Breitling gate right there. And just a couple more turns to go before he will take Quad Force 1 to a grand final. Just the DCL closed 8 gates and gently making sure he gets it in there. You can see Lenkong coming in at speed afterwards to try and get that point from him and crashing it as he did. Suzuki's home. I think Lenkong has made it home, but DMM Raiden Racing, to the relief of all of Quad Force 1. Quad Force 1 go to our grand final. DMM Raiden Racing leave us here, and their chances for the season, that's tough on them now. You can see finisher points were so close between them as well. But it was 2-2 going into that, and Alex Campbell is leaping around on our stage, doing massive high fives to his teammates, because he's got a chance now of featuring in a grand final against a really big opposition for him. That's where Mara Killian hit the drapes on the side of the gallery, and then bounced out of the gallery into the trees alongside it, and spun around a little bit more, and yet still possibly managed to get that back off the ground. There's a view of the gallery from the floor. That's a happy Alex Campbell. That's the man. That's the two sides of Alex Campbell there. You saw the fury on his face, and you saw the delight, the sheer passionate release that he's got a chance to take his team to the big W on the top of the podium today. Whew, it's exciting stuff, DCL. That's why we're live. So our semi-finals see Rotorama go out and DMM Raiden Racing go out. As you see there, to Next Blades Racing and Quad Force 1 respectively, which means Next Blades Racing and Quad Force 1, who are second and third in the season at the present, are racing each other in the grand final. There's only 30 points between them on the leaderboard. There's only 30 points of difference between first and second in that grand final. It's going to be very, very exciting, and it's going to be live to you from Brussels next. What an amazing evening's racing the Brussels Drone Prix is giving us here with the Drone Champions League live to you from the centre of it, from the Mont, the beautiful square that we've taken over, so kindly given to us in truth by the local council. It's very hard to fly drones in the entirety of Belgium, but they are giving us permission to bring the world's best professional teams, and those teams are not disappointing in the action we're seeing. The grand final is going to be coming soon. It's going to be all blue. It's going to be dark blue and light blue. It's teams who are second and third in our leaderboard looking to get a little bit more of a gain on the team who are both ahead of them. Martijn.
Yeah, this is going to be an exciting final, man.
Here we go. There's a little bit of this happening out of excitement and also cold. Let's be honest, it is freezing here for these pilots, and it is wet for them and the audience who are watching them.
Yep. Yeah, we got some of the fastest pilots from the world here, but we have Next Blaze and we have Quad Force 1. And Next Blaze was able to take the first and second qualifier seat of individual pilots, and Quad Force 1 has the third and fourth, and these times are super close together. So it's going to be, the single heats, the big heats is all going to be a big spectacle.
A spectacle is a great word for it, actually. The way these drones light up the sky and at the speed that they're moving out around the Mont too. Can't wait to see what these teams do. We'll give them a chance to get ready for this all-important grand final. So how do they get ready? What do you need in terms of a drone, and how do you get it ready to race? Well, who better to tell you than this man right here.
Hey guys, my name is Corey. I'm a pilot for Quad Force 1, and this is the setup we're going to be running here in Madrid. So here we have the racing drone. We have two cameras. We have a smaller camera here on the front, which is for the pilot's view. We have a larger camera for the HD recording. We have the brains inside, protected by a canopy here. And we have 4 motors, which drive the quad using propellers, which push it through the air. Propeller selection is really important for racing drones, similar to tire selection for a car. A wider tire is going to be heavier, but it's going to have a lot better handling in the corners. We've gone for a propeller that has better handling, but might not be as fast in the straights, but we think it's going to help us out here. So batteries are unique. It's unlike a car, where a car has full power until you run out of gas and your car sputters to a stop. A battery, however, as you drain the battery down, the quad loses power. And that's something we have to think about and accommodate for when we race, because you don't want to go into a corner thinking you have a lot of power, but your battery is low, and it'll cause you to crash and be off your line and really slow you down. So this is a cell checker. This tells us whether or not a battery is full or not. Here we have 15.4 volts. Don't want to fly on this, not a full battery. So that's it for the setup, guys. My name was Corey. I'm flying for Quad Force 1, and we need to head out and start racing.
Hey guys, my name's Gary Kent from Next Blades Racing, and I'm going to tell you a little bit how we race our drones. So this is our racing drone. The camera on the top, the big camera, our GoPro, records the video for the viewers at home, which is in HD. The camera on the bottom is the view that we see. So that camera feeds a video signal back to these goggles, so we fly from the pilot's perspective. You feel so close to the drone. It feels like you're actually sitting inside the drone. It's like you feel the wind rushing past you, and you have a real connection with the drone, and that's what you get from wearing these goggles. So finally, we have the remote. So the way it works is on the left-hand stick, you have the up and down, controls your speed and your height. The left and the right allows you to spin the drone, and the right-hand stick pitches the quad forwards or backwards or left and right. So the technology we're using here is absolutely amazing. You are tricking your mind into believing that you are inside the drone. The speed and the feeling that you get when you're sat on the line with the goggles on is like nothing else you have ever tried before. So that's it for me. Hope you enjoy the racing. I'm going to get back to it.
A rain-soaked Mont that Gary Kent has been flying around in. And thanks to Corey Ibanez for joining us earlier on in the season and taking us through his setup with Quad Force One. We are live to you from the centre of Brussels, the capital of Belgium. It is wet, it is cold, but it is exciting.
It is,
and
absolutely.
It is a hell of a grand final that we have ready for you soon. It's going to be Next Blades Racing against Quad Force One. Rotorama went out in the semi-finals. The current leaders of our 2018 World Championships, DMM Raiden Racing, who were fourth, they have gone out as for third or fourth here after the semi-finals. Two, we'll let you know later on which team is third and which team is fourth, because it matters in terms of points for the season. So 8th Drone Prix from here in a few weeks' time. We'll be racing at Rapperswil, just outside Zurich in Switzerland. 2 Drone Prix there will settle the 2018 season and let us know who is going to be the world champion. The Mont final, though, here between Next Blades Racing and Quad Force One is very, very important to that, as Next Blades Racing are our reigning world champions.
Yeah, these teams have had their battles, haven't they? They've done a lot of heats against each other, and both teams, they are so well matched. Like I said again, the best pilots in the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, respectively, Next Blades coming out of UK and the Quad Force One coming out of America, obviously. I cannot wait, but we have to wait a little bit.
Let's talk about how Quad Force One got into this grand final, though. They beat out DMM Raiden Racing from Japan, and I think we might be able to show you that big heat again, which was carnage. So let's try and take a little bit of that. Remember, it was 2-2 going into this. Alex Campbell couldn't fly because his drone wasn't working. So let's work out what happened here. We lost
all sorts of crashes.
We lost
there.
3 just on that Breitling gate. Was that just down to so many drones in action at the time?
Yep. And also the pilots being so well matched. You know, they're super close together. Absolutely.
Mara Killian hit the curtains on the left-hand side of the gallery tunnel, which is next to the library. So if anybody's in there reading books instead of watching drone racing, they had a bit of a surprise. But it hit the curtains and then actually spun it completely out of the gallery through the trees down to the floor. Meanwhile, JT, that's Jonathan Templeton for Quad Force One.
He was the only one making it out of that first corner without any problems, which got him a big lead. Actually, JT, he's not the fastest pilot of the team, but he's super consistent, and he was able to keep his cool because Lankong was really going for it.
Yeah, at this stage,
as we can see him coming there on the right side of the screen.
At this stage, there's 4 and 6 seconds between Templeton and Suzuki and Lankong, respectively. But as it came around to that part, you can see Lankong has passed Suzuki. Suzuki's slightly further away, but Lankong took 3 seconds out of that gap, and that's him whizzing across the screen there, trying to close it. He may well, it was very, very little. He missed that finish there, so it's harder to tell how close it would actually have been, but so close there, and he came in at such speed, he could have surprised Templeton, having lost that one right at the death. Our other big heats, let's go back to that one on semi-final number 1, which was where Next Blades Racing secured their grand final spot over our season leaderboard leaders at the moment, Rotorama. So I think we'll take you to that one in a moment. You can see the 8 drones of Next Blades Racing and Rotorama. Remember, this is very different.
Yeah, the interesting strategy by Rotorama. You clearly see them waiting.
They don't believe from starting this that they can beat Next Blades. So what they're doing here is letting Next Blades win.
Yes. So, as I spoke about earlier, there are two interesting elements in this strategy. One is they can hope for mid-air collisions of the Next Blades team. So then Rotorama chasing them and scooping up scooping up a win even. But primarily their goal was to fly safe, don't rush it, and take those finisher points, because the finisher points will ultimately decide who will be third today and who will come in fourth. And obviously, third place will get you more points for the overall season standings.
And what's very interesting out of this, and we'll bring this to you now, obviously we'll be doing our prize giving later on, but before we get into our grand final, let's talk about this right now. Rotorama and DMM Raiden Racing are the two teams who left us at the semi-final stage. As we've said, you determine who gets further based, firstly, that's the important bit, firstly, on finisher points.
Right.
Both Rotorama and DMM Raiden Racing have 24. What you're seeing in that big heat is Rotorama's brilliance as a tactical team, because they needed as many finisher points as they could get. And if they'd got one less than they did, they'd be fourth.
Really?
Instead, they have tied with DMM Raiden Racing on finisher points. They both have 24. So they had to do that. And they didn't know that was how it was necessarily going to work out. I guess they were aware. Well, no, at that stage they were in the first semi-final, so they don't know whether they're going to be chasing third or fourth against Quad Force 1 or DMM Raiden Racing. All they know is the one with the most finisher points is third, so let's bag as many as we can.
Exactly.
And if they got 3, and if they got 2, they'd have lost third place.
They'd be
fourth. Instead, they have tied with DMM Raiden Racing on finisher points. So what we now do is look at qualifying times, and I can tell you that brilliant tactical decision by Rotorama to not get too involved in the thick of the racing and risk anybody crashing, instead bag finisher points, has bagged them third place. So although they have tied with DMM Raiden Racing on finisher points, after looking at qualifying and looking into the next tier of things that we work out through the DCL rulebook,
it is really
Rotorama are third.
It is, yeah.
If they hadn't done that and got as many finisher points as they did, if they got one fewer finisher point, they'd be fourth. And fourth concedes 50 more points. It's 150 instead of 200.
And this is just an example of how much strategy comes into play in this setup of DCL, the team racing.
If you were fourth here, the teams who are in this grand final are your closest competitors. Rotorama could lose being first in the season after today if they'd been fourth.
Right.
No, but being third means they can probably still hang on to it.
Yeah.
It's exciting stuff, and that shows you how smart they are as a team. That's what Rotorama do. That's not the sort of thing that other teams try and bring to the DCL, but it's worked out brilliantly for them. Let us know your thoughts. Hashtag DCL18, and we are the Drone Champions League on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook, and Drone Champions on Twitter, because they don't let us fit in all the letters of EAG. I'm Matt Andrews TV on all of those things as well, so check in here for behind-the-scenes stuff, and you have a team in Amsterdam.
I do, yeah. And my name is Martijn de Kemp, by the way. Yes, that's me. Yeah.
We await the grand final.
Yeah.
Martijn de Kemp, who is him, and myself, Matt Andrews. We await a very exciting grand final.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. You know, I was struggling last year here as a pilot. Last year's track was actually a lot more challenging. We went underneath the trees, that we saw some pilots clip
It didn't have some of the technical elements that this one has got. It didn't have that corkscrew, which is a 540-degree corkscrew. We've not had one like that before. This is our first Skygate of the DCL as well, that cube that you fly in and then have to exit out through the top of that. But what we did have was that tree tunnel of death, which you can just see to the left of the Skygate on your picture right there. It was beautiful, and go and look at Drone Champions League on YouTube and check out our races from 2017 or on Facebook. Yeah. And you can see what it was like to fly through that tree tunnel up to 140 kilometers an hour.
That was
it is so hard to do.
That was it. That's what I challenged last year. We actually went underneath those trees and had to cut our way out of it. I wasn't that successful, but actually it's just brilliant to be here, Matt. Sit on a different side of the desk.
We have some fun this, don't we?
Yeah, definitely, and experience the event from a completely different perspective. Also seeing the sport evolve, because the pilots and the level, and also the gear that we fly with and the equipment, it just became so much better. The drones are so much faster. The pilots are so much more skilled. Actually, we have a lot of pro pilots that do this stuff for a living, and they just put in time. You know, they practice every day. Quad Force One, actually, a team that also practices a lot on simulator to be able to fly together, having the long distance relationship that they have within their team. The level is just going up and up and up.
We do have our tracks on simulators, and this is something you can try and get hold of as well. So check out our website, dcl.aero, to find out more. We do release these tracks as simulators. We get asked this a lot. Do the pilots get a chance to learn these tracks before they come here? So we build them all as simulators, and we release that to the pilots before they actually come on site and fly to wherever we are around the world. Some of the pilots like to explore those and fly them a lot and get really good on that simulator, and then bring that experience to real life. Whereas there are other pilots who prefer just to learn the track but not get good at it. Gary Kent, for example, in Next Place Racing, he always told me he would have to unlearn the simulator to then fly it for real life. What was your experience of that?
Well, I used to do it. I like to learn the track and learn the corners on simulator, but do not overdo it. Okay. Because what we do is we connect actually the radio that we fly with. We connect that to a computer, so the input signals is the same as flying a drone. But then again, it doesn't really feel like flying a real drone because you miss the elements that we have, and that could be wind, it could be rain even. It just feels different, and it can throw you off. It really can throw you off because as soon as you fly the real track, and things are different, even if they are slightly different, they can be confusing.
So challenges await our teams with their experience. However, they've learned this track. They are extremely, extremely good at it. It is going to be Next Place Racing against Quad Force One. If you've been following the DCL season, you'll know that these are amazing teams who need every point they can get. They're both behind Rotorama. Rotorama's out. We'll bring them to you on our stage very, very soon. It's a bit of a one-way story, though, because these two teams have met each other a few times during our season, and it is always Next Place Racing who have won.
Yes, yeah.
So yeah, Quad Force One haven't yet managed to get one over on them. Now, our teams are currently in the pits area getting their drones ready, but I think Lucas Baumann will let us know how long we've got, or rather how long they've got until that grand final is ready. I think it's getting to be a little bit close now, like our teams are starting to run out of time. And we've seen that before. We've seen teams struggle to get things ready. Rotorama last time we were here in Brussels. But I don't think either of these teams have got a lot to contend with, although maybe Alex Campbell. Lucas Baumann is live here in Brussels on our stage. He'll let us know where we're at.
2 minutes countdown for the finals. 2 minutes countdown.
There you go. I think we got him on the lip read the first time, but 2 minutes is how long the pilots have got to be ready.
And this situation is super stressful for the pilots because they're working around the clock to get their drones ready for the race, but during an event, you crash, you break stuff, and the further the event progresses, so we have quarterfinals, then we have semifinals, ultimately the final, chances are you do not have two drones ready. You do not have two drones ready to be able to fly the finals even. So probably right now they are struggling to make sure that they have those two drones, to make sure that they have those batteries ready, and that they're actually able to fly.
The Mont and the grand final of our Brussels Drone Prix await us. Live to you, we are the Drone Champions League, the world's best professional team drone racing series. I'm Matt Andrews, this is Martijn de Kemp, and together we are very excited to be bringing you two of the very, very best teams in the world. One of them the reigning world champions, one of them an amazing newcomer to DCL, having made such a huge impact this season. They have been first or second in every Drone Prix we've done, with the exception of the first one when they weren't flying flying their own quads after they couldn't actually get them to the race through customs in Munich. But they're here, they're loud, and they are doing brilliantly throughout this season. These teams are so close to each other. It's going to be an amazing packed grand final, and it's live to you now. Here come the reigning world champions. They are Next Blades Racing. They are from the UK. They are fast. They are a huge challenge for any of our teams. They are Timothy Trowbridge, Gary Kent, Brett Collis, and Luke Bannister. But there you can see, off stage, ready to go on, are the amazing team from America. We are ready to rock on our stage with the Americans. Quad Force 1 are here. They are hungry for points. They are hungry to sort out a few issues that they've had earlier on, and we'll try not to let them get to them. They are Jonathan Templeton, Evan Turner, Alex Campbell, and Andy Marakillian.
That's one of Next Blade's drones. They have this beautiful canopy that's 3D printed.
Yeah, it's lovely, isn't it? It's a really clever piece of work.
Yep. Timothy Trowbridge here. Pilot that's been in DCL for the last 2 years. Last year he was in the Swiss team, but having a double nationality actually enabled him to also represent the UK team, Next Blaze Racing, which he is part of this year.
Yeah, he raced against them last year as part of FPV Racing. He was runner-up of Pilot of the Year to Brett Collis, who's on Next Blaze Racing. Timothy was actually the best qualifying pilot of 2017. He won that award at the end of it. Now it's for getting the most first in qualifying.
Yes.
He's only raced for a couple of races though this year, and he's been a little way off first as some other pilots have come in and shown everybody how to qualify.
Today he's doing quite well. He's 9th in overall qualification now. Actually, all of Next Blade's team is in the top 10.
It's amazing that they've managed to pull that off.
Yeah, so we have Timothy on 9th, we have Gary Kent on 6th, we have Brett Collis on 2nd place in qualification, and Luke Bannister,
10 seconds countdown.
Fastest qualifying pilot.
So it's Quad Force 1 against Next Blades Racing for the grand final of the Brussels Drone Prix. It begins with Timothy Trowbridge in dark blue and Jonathan Templeton in light blue. And it is Trowbridge against Templeton, which is the race we will remember as being one of the best, if not the best of the season when we had it at the Great Wall of China, including for its incredible finish when neither pilot could actually manage to get it into the crash gate. But prior to that, it had been thick and fast, and the lead had changed and changed and changed and changed again. Currently, it's Trowbridge in the lead, and he's still there. Templeton chasing around the back of him as they complete lap number 1. Trowbridge's view over the Mont as Trowbridge goes through the gate over a second in front of him. Templeton, though, is no slow pilot, and Trowbridge has been having a good season. We've not seen him maybe quite at his best, but here comes Templeton. Half a second now. Behind him, no, the Brussels gate, not a problem there. It looms ahead of Trowbridge, who's through it. Templeton a little bit slower around that corkscrew as well. Trowbridge completes lap number 2 and over the Breitling gate. It's a second now for Templeton to close it. He's got to do it in very little time. Trowbridge will come through the DCL, close their gate and makes it home. No problem for him this time. He's missed them in the past, but he's done. Templeton is also in there. 1 second between them, 1 point between them, and that's in favour of Next Blades. That's a taster. That's a taster of what we can expect from this grand final. Pilots who know how to fly this thing, who are quick, who can end it at speed, and will never say die.
Brilliant racing by both of them.
So it's the first one for Trowbridge. And next up comes, that's the relief but still like slightly concerned. Pressure's not off Trowbridge there. Now look at this, Gary Kent against Evans Turner. They've both got 6 finisher points so far. That's points that they've accumulated for their team, but we all are also adding up finisher points for the season, and we'll be awarding a pilot who managed to do the most finisher points at the end of the year.
I expect this to be a super close race, if that is Gary Kent can get a visual.
Well, he does, and it's pretty good. That's one of the better pictures we've seen. It's quite a high camera position I think he's got.
He may have some problems on the receiving end. Maybe the goggles have to be swapped out. We have multiple, so that won't be a problem.
But drone-wise, it's all functioning and sending.
But I expect this race to be super close, because looking at the qualification times, Gary Kent has clocked a 43.06 and Evan Turner a 43.47. So there's 4/10 of a second in between them.
Yeah, these are good.
And that's over the course of 2.5 laps. So this is very, very close together.
Gary Kent's video signal is solid. He's just having a little bit of trouble with his FPV goggles on stage, but we know the picture coming from his drone is all good. So he's going to get goggles up.
Yep.
10 seconds countdown.
There you have it.
So here we go. Kent versus Turner. And Turner with the lead through the Breitling Gate. Kent alongside him now, around the pylon together and heading up to the Ibis Gate. Decent split S's from both of them, and Kent takes the lead from Turner as they exit through there and into the gallery, and Turner's hit that hard. Kent's out of the other side of it. If I were him, I'd carry on flying, because Turner knows how to bring a drone back to life, but it was a hard collision. And if Turner on stage has got his goggles off, then his teammates can tell him, as I believe they are doing. Oh, Gary, that one's yours. That was over a bit soon.
Gary Kent, always smooth. He flies as smooth as he looks, actually.
Evan Turner.
Yeah, it's too bad. Let's take a look at what happened there. They were literally flying side by side. Evan Turner here entering the gallery. You can see Gary Kent flying in front of him and cutting this corner on the inside. Too much on the inside. That is clipping the concrete at the gallery entrance.
Lucas Baumann is brandishing a yellow card. And the chief judge on stage is showing it to...
Yeah, to Gary Kent. Yeah, I think what happened there is that Gary Kent got instructions to land and go directly to the crash gate, but he flew too high.
On his way to wrap it up.
Yes,
oh,
yes.
Gary, he can't do that.
No, he can't. No. Well, so a yellow card is a penalty for the pilot, and it's basically a warning. It's a final warning. So one yellow card doesn't mean much, only that you're flagged.
Don't get a second.
Yeah, don't get a second one.
Then you're out of it. You're disqualified out of it.
Yep, because once you get the second yellow card, you're not able to fly the big heat. Or actually, you're disqualified for the day, but in the final, obviously, that means the big heat. Yes.
Now, Alex Campbell has video, so he has a race with Brett Collis. You can still see the rain, it's still coming. Not quite as bad as it was, but it is so cold. So Collis leaves Campbell behind on the starting blocks. Campbell chases him, takes him on the first turn. This is going to be hot stuff here between Brett and Alex there around the Ibis gates. And look at them there sharing there as they'll come up towards the gallery, and Campbell has the lead. Collis has lost some time now. It's nearly 1.5 seconds, but he's gained that in the gallery. So you can see the straight line speed that Next Blaze Racing have. Campbell knows how to fly a corkscrew and demolish an opponent who's a long way in front of him. Right now, he's that guy. He's the one in front, and the Breitling Gate shows that it's half a second between him and Collis. This might be the closest race of the day. Out of the Ibis Gate, they both go and head up to the gallery, but Campbell's clipped the DCL gate. Rolled it onto the grounds, recovers it, he's back into the corridor that we call the gallery and heads up towards the Sky Gate. Collis, though, is a little way ahead of him now as Campbell continues with the corkscrew. Collis has already finished his second lap. It's going to be a few seconds here. Collis will take the Ibis Gate. That's the DCL gate that Campbell clipped. Collis is home. Alex Campbell. And in fact, I'm not sure he's going to get to finish.
Campbell's not happy with this. No. He doesn't even take his goggles off.
He's looking at interference right now. We can see the video picture from his drone. It's not something you want to look at. It's just the color bars.
Yeah, Campbell's not having the best day.
He's holding himself together right now, but that is tough for that team.
Just now in the quarter or in the semifinals, rather, he
look at that.
He wasn't able to take off. And Campbell, yeah,
he's absolutely not looking. He won't mind me telling you. He's a guy who's happy with us being honest about him. Right now, he's looking at color bars.
Yeah. That's sad.
That is heartbreaking to see for a really, really good competitor.
10 seconds countdown.
This is where he clipped the top of the DCL gate. He was still flying afterwards, but Brett Collis by then had a big lead on him.
All right, so our final single heat of Brussels is Luke Bannister against Andy Marakilian. Oh no, Andy. He is in a gantry that might even be where the starting blocks are. That is a disaster for Quad Force One. You can see him lighting it up. That is in front of the starting blocks. That never got anywhere. What terrible, terrible technical problems and bad luck Quad Force One are having. Marakilian with a smile on his face as he looks over the court to Next Blades Racing.
Yeah, this is where we see it. Marakilian overcommitting on the launch there. So what the pilots have to do is actually quite complex, you know. They have to lift their quad by giving throttle, then they have to pitch their quad forward and give more throttle. If you pitch too far forward, you will end up facing down and hitting the bridling sign over there, which we can now see not really stand. There it is. Runners correcting it again.
Yeah, there it is. Look, that's as far as he got.
Yeah, it's super unfortunate.
Well, what we're getting led towards here is the last race of the time that we've had enjoying ourselves in Brussels. And we're going to see Next Blades Racing possibly extend their lead over Quad Force One. Or we are going to see the story of stories of Quad Force One, who have lost in this season to Next Blades Racing every time they faced him. If Quad Force One can manage to get all 4 of their drones to the front of this and come in first, second, third and fourth, they'll get those 4 heat points, and in doing so they'll pick up 4 finisher points. And if 2 of Next Blades Racing have finished, then they'll pick up 2 and Next Blades Racing will take it still. So you've got a lot to do here, Quad Force One. First thing you've got to do is win this, come in second, third and fourth as well.
Yeah.
And then you've got to hope that only 1 of Next Blades Racing finishes. That's basically how this can be there. So this is a massive story if they can pull it off.
Yeah,
but if
absolutely.
they can beat all of Next Blades Racing to the end, they still need a little bit of luck in their hands from Next Blades, who may now play this in what I'm beginning to think of as the Rotorama tactic.
The Rotorama tactic.
Yeah, we need a better name. That's a lousy name for it.
Oh, well, you know, we got to give them credit for it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But the disruption, the Rotorama disruption. I know Next Blades were very interested when we all learned that Rotorama do that. So we're like, oh, so that's a thing.
So what we see is a lot of the pilots, they listen to music. It helps them focus on the race and not get too distracted with everything happening around them. They need to be super focused and concentrated. Luke Bannister, who's made it even though he's still such a young kid, he's made quite a name for himself in the drone racing community.
So Quad Force One looking chilled. Andy Marakilian's got dreadful video issues right now. Alex Campbell's is not in great shape either. JT, Jonathan Templeton and Evan Turner, their pictures are looking pretty sound. Next Blades Racing, that's Evan Turner's. Next Blades Racing, they all look good. Campbell, he's having problems.
Campbell's having all sorts of problems today.
Yeah, he really is.
Super unfortunate.
That's the starting blocks. As you can see, they are unusually here, but we love doing this bit in Brussels. They are high up. They are on top, well, overlooking a fountain. It's a kind of, you better make a good start because you don't want to drop out. That's what Alex has got.
Yeah, that doesn't look too good.
And this is, as I've said a few times, but if you've missed it, maybe missed it at the start of the show, what the pilots are flying with is what we are bringing you. We are bringing you the exact same video signal that they are flying with. So if you think that looks rough to watch, that's what Alex Campbell is going to fly with.
10 seconds countdown.
Lucas Baumann tells us that the final race here in Brussels is upon us. The grand final between Next Blades Racing and Quad Force One. The night sky fills with the blues. It's dark blue for the Next Blades. It's light blue for everything to do for Quad Force One. They're all in this. Everybody's in the fight, and it is light blue up front and dark blue doing the disruption. Turner and Campbell glow through the gallery. Turner in the lead, Campbell behind him, and Collis, Bannister and Kent are stopping Templeton and Andy Marakillian, who is down and in a hedge. Templeton's still in this. Turner and Campbell. Campbell's flying brilliantly. His video issues seem to be catching up with his skills. He's got a few issues on it, but he's keeping this drone beautifully in the air. Campbell, though, has got the lead through the gallery, saying, I'm just going to fly this thing as well as I know. And he's got a mid-air. He and Bannister have tangled up, and they both come down. Evan Turner flies in the lead for Quad Force One, but Collis, the Brett, is ahead of him as they come through the Brightling Gate. It's only this bit, and these two pilots left now. Brett Collis has got the lead over Evan Turner. Evan Turner beats him to the finish. An amazing finish for Evan Turner, a really exciting final race and an incredible bit of skill from the young pilot Evan Turner for Quad Force One, the 15-year-old who's known as Heads Up FPV and who they call the fastest pilot in the USA. But it is not enough. He can get that heat point, he can get one on the board for Quad Force One. But Next Blades Racing, who were 4-0 up going into that, are going to be the champions again here in Brussels.
What a race.
What an amazing race. Mid-airs in that, individual pilot errors in that. It stands. It is going to be 4-1 to Next Blades Racing. They've done something that nobody has done this entire season to date. We raced 2 races in all of our locations, and Next Blades Racing have won both of them here in Brussels. Congratulations to them. That's an amazing achievement. I say it happened, I think, once last year, and in that year it was Next Blades Racing who managed to do it, and they've done it here today, winning the last race we did on the Mont this season and winning this one as well. Quad Force One will be runners-up. Motorama are going to be third, as I already told you earlier on. You can see such big smiles from these amazing competitors on stage. They'd have every right to be so disappointed losing to Next Blades, again conceding more points to Next Blades, again for the World Championship. But look at that.
There's such great sportsmanship between these pilots, you know. Once they're in the air, they literally hate each other. But as soon as these goggles are off, it's all friendship. If you have the chance to ever visit a race, please, feel free to walk around at the pilot area. And you can see the camaraderie and the sportsmanship between these pilots, all helping each other out.
You can see Luke Bannister signaling there, like, I did not have much to deal with. Marakillian, yeah, disappointed as you would expect him to be. Alex Campbell with a lot to say, of course, but seems to take that loss well. That's Marakillian's
Yeah, that's
view on the
Marakillian
start.
actually waiting. Yeah, he was waiting here to catch that finisher point. Very slow start on Marakillian, but strategically it completely makes sense, except for the fact that he hit the Breitling Gate here.
Yeah, that's all sorts of crash problems going on there.
And this is where we have Luke Bannister,
I think.
Yeah, the mid-air with Alex Campbell. That's where we see it.
Campbell had passed him. Bannister took him on that turn.
Let's take a look at it.
Look at that. They both come down together and stay there. A little cuddle in the grass. More of them came down into the trees there as well. It was only Turner and Collis who finished it. And Turner did pip Collis right at the end. Such an exciting finish. Never say die. All of these pilots, that's what they do time and time again. Never say die. Never quit. Quad Force One will be sad to have lost it there, though, because they've lost to that team who were celebrating on stage before and a few times now. And as far as Quad Force One are concerned, if they're second, they're last.
Yeah.
And the season has 2 Drone Prix remaining, so there is not much time for any team to catch any other team.
There isn't, no.
It's going to come right down to the wire. It did in 2017, and that had Rotorama and Next Blades Racing fighting out in our final race of the entire year. That's what we're looking forward to when we get to the end of 2018, but we're not there yet. So let's wrap up Brussels with 250 points for Next Blades, 220 to Quad Force 1, and 200 to Rotorama. As I told you earlier, they are a third after having the same finishing points as the other team who went out in the semi-finals, DMM Raid and Racing. But Rotorama, they got all those finisher points they needed in their semi-final, and then they were better in qualifying. That's why they get third. That's how we split it. If we can't divide it on heat points or finisher points, we go to qualifying. Air Carvers Germany pick up their fifth place of the season. Better stuff from them, but that's pretty typical of where they've been, and that's the best they've ever done
yeah,
for 2018.
Top
and then
three
below
bracket.
there, Swiss Black Kites, China Dragons, the Spain drone team who were guesting with us here in Brussels. Disappointment for them.
The top 3 bracket is so close together.
Yeah.
That's what makes this season unlike anything else.
Yeah,
It does.
Yeah, we did.
We have Quad Force 1, Next Blaze, Rotorama. They are really fighting for that first place.
Yeah, and they're changing positions, but they're changing positions by 10 or 20 points.
Actually, yeah, and it's still to be decided who's going to win this season.
Yeah, absolutely.
They are so close together, and actually they're getting closer and closer together, because I think the difference between in the season standings between Next Blaze and Rotorama is only like 20 points now.
Is that what you're working it out as?
Yeah, I'm just doing some quick math. 2 plus 2. Yeah.
2 plus 2. And there's a few hundreds along the way. Yeah, well, we will tell you these season standings because it is really exciting. And then there are 2 more Drone Prix to look forward to. They are in Rapperswil in Switzerland in a few weeks' time. So make sure you follow us on all social media. Drone Champions League on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook, and Drone Champions L on Twitter. And our website is dcl.aero. The overall standings for the season before we get to our final location on our World Tour of Drone Racing look like this. 1,620 points to Rotorama. They've been top of our season for a while now. They're going to go to our final location in the world in the lead. And the reigning world champions from last season are a hair's breadth behind them. 1,600 points, just 20 in it. Quad Force 1, 50 points behind them. The teams have moved around. The gaps have got smaller in some cases. Raid and Racing finally make it above 1,000 points. But they are out of that part, and then Air Carvers Germany and everybody else down have lost any chance of featuring on a podium at the end of the year. Martijn, in a few weeks' time, we'll go to Rapperswil in Switzerland, and we'll expect these teams to make it even more exciting. Can you imagine it being even more exciting?
Yeah, well, actually, no, because it's just a big build-up to a grand final. I cannot wait to see how this is going to play out. Really, I just cannot wait. Next Blaze, 20 points away from Rotorama. I'm happy my quick maths was correct. And also we have Quad Force 1 still being able to make it there. It's going to be super, super tight. For me, on behalf of me, Martijn de Kemp, that's my name. It was amazing to be here as a commenter, having flown here last year as a pilot. I want to thank you guys for sticking with us. Before let's have a word with the winners.
I have Next Blades Racing, our champions here of the DCL Drone Prix in Brussels. Congratulations to all of you. Timothy, were you just saying, oh, I won all my single heats, and these guys were going, yeah, it's about time?
Yeah, they said that. I don't know why, to be honest, because I won all of them in China as well. But yeah, that's what teammates are for, right?
For heckling you even when it's going well. Yeah, it seems so. Gary, you must be so thrilled. You've done the double. Nobody else has done it yet this season. Only one team has done it in DCL history. You've won 2 Drone Prix at the same location, and the team who did it in 2017, that was you guys as well.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I just can't believe we've done it again. It's Brussels is our space.
Congratulations, guys. We are going to be giving them their prize very, very shortly. It's going to go to Next Blades on the top of the podium. I'll let you go and get ready.
Get ready.
So, and another amazing race on the Monte Hart here in Brussels. We thank everybody in Brussels for letting us bring the world's best professional team drone racing series to their center of the city, and it's brought us amazing action again. Now let's congratulate the teams who have done so well here, and we're getting to know these teams extremely well as we head up to the end of our World Championship season. 3rd place here at the Brussels Drone Prix. Please put your hands together, ladies and gentlemen, for Rotorama! Rotorama, third of the Brussels Drone Prix, and presenting their trophy is the CEO of the DCL, Herbert Weirater. From the Czech Republic, Rotorama! And after that thrilling grand final, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, please welcome our runners-up here in Brussels, Quad Force 1! Presenting their trophy as the runners-up is Fabien Watanier, the Assistant of Sports Commissioner for Brussels City. From America, ladies and gentlemen, Quad Force 1! And now our champions again here in Brussels, the reigning world champions from last year and looking like they want to take it again for 2018. Next Blades Racing! And their entourage. And the prize for being the champions here in Brussels is presented by Alain Courtois, the Sports Commissioner for Brussels City. Wait for it. Ladies and gentlemen, the champions are Next Blades Racing! Drone Prix that they've given us here, along with all of the other teams. We thank them all for joining us in Brussels. We thank you for joining us for the Brussels Drone Prix. In a few weeks, we go to Rapperswil, we go to Switzerland, and we go to crown a world champion. Will it be a new one, or will Next Blades Racing retain the title? Join us live. The world's best professional team series will be live from Switzerland. We'll crown a world champion. But for now, today, our champion, they are Next Blades Racing.